So going back to the homework yesterday, what do you guys think about your resume?
I had trouble with mine. I had trouble uploading it.
Okay. If you had trouble uploading, you just send it through email, like an attachment.
Okay.
Okay. I got Hannah's, Yossi, Kat, Cameron, Daniel Bolton, and Christian. I got your resumes. So as I was looking at them, I know some of you guys don't have a lot of experience. That's cool, but you can also go ahead and put the school as your experience. What I would do, you guys have been through foundations. I don't know if you guys passed the survey. If you have passed it and got your food handlers manager's certificate, put it in there. Okay. I know who was I looking at? Kat. I think you have your TABC, right?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so you have it on there. So if you have certain certificates, put them on there. Even if you don't have no experience, I would suggest putting any kind of volunteerism on there as well too. I know it's really early in the year in your program, but if you have done any volunteer prior to coming to school, any high school competitions, anything that aside out of the school that it has to do with food experience, I would put them in there. Okay. What else? What did I saw too? And a couple of the regular spelling issues. Pursuing. I know I saw a couple of you guys spelled it P-U-R S-I-N-G, pursing, like a purse. So pursuing. Okay. What else?
Yeah, Chef, you're talking about don't say you have the degree while you're still in school. Say you're pursuing, right?
Correct. And they have it on. I mean, they have their school experience on there from the first block, and they have prior employment too. But again, I would just go ahead and add on any volunteerism that they have. So I'm going to go extensively, hopefully with Chef Gary over the weekend, and maybe we'll tackle half and half, and we'll do another one, and we'll send it back to you guys. What do we think it should look like? Just trying to help you guys out how to build your resume. Okay, how to word it, how to format it, and how to not fluff it up, but put some keywords that that we look for. Because one of the things that I look for in the resume when I used to work in the industry, it didn't disqualify them, but they're yeah. Go ahead, Mr. James.
So that was Daniel that texted you, just to let you know.
That was who?
Daniel Bolton.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Did he tell you he's about to get on, Chef? Or?
No, he's going to be absent. He's got some other issues to
okay.
deal with. Okay. So, anyways, we'll try to work with you guys and help you reword it and maybe reformat it and add a couple of things together, or turn move them around and send it back to you guys so you guys can take a look at it. But one of the biggest things that we in the industry as chefs and executives look at is their tenure. Okay. How long they were there at the last job. And I know, this early in the game, so you might be on a job for 6 months here, 6 months there. But if that's a recurring event or a chronic thing on your resume, that means you're not, you may not be reliable to bring on board and spend that time, energy, and money to train you properly, because you can probably going to jump ship in the next 2 or 3 months. So keep that in consideration. So the next job that you get, you might want to stick around a little bit more than 6 months, maybe a year. Typically, it's about a 2-year time frame for any job. Anybody that has a 2-year time frame on the resume is pretty much that tells you, okay, I can spend some time in this individual, he or she, and they're not going to jump ship. But again, if you're a student, I'll take that 6 months, and I will ask why, what happened and why you were there only 6 months, and moving out of state, out of city, personal issues, whatever the case was, then I'll take that in consideration too. But if you don't have any to talk about, then that may disqualify you from getting hired. It's something to think about, right, Chef Gary?
So yeah, I have similar thoughts, Chef. Everybody kind of gives the advice of don't be jumping jobs between jobs too quickly and stuff. And fact is, when you're young, a lot of times life gets in the way. Parenthood, marriage, spouse having to go a new place for work and so forth. And so it's really tricky and challenging, right? But just as a way of thinking about it over the long haul, what a good cook and a chef wants to do is just show a little more stability over time. So like I've jumped around a lot. I probably had, I don't know, 7 or 8 jobs in 8 or 9 years in the first 10 years that I cooked, right? I think I had two jobs I was there a full 2 years. Some other jobs I was in there 6 months. One job I was in there about a month and a half, and see you later, you know? So we get that, and I think some employers get that. I just think that as you start to move, you know, through experience, and you've been through a couple jobs and you've learned a few different things, and now you're not just a complete rookie anymore, then you're starting to look for a little bit more money and stuff, and that's when it starts to become more important to be able to show that stability. Like, I had people tell me now, okay, you've been in it 10 years now. In fact, I've really kind of thought of it myself, but some big shots agreed with me. You've been in the business 10 years. You start making a conscious effort to try to manage your life and everything in such a way as you can show 2.5, 3, 4, 4.5 years on the job, just because it's very good for getting those big shots to say yes to you when you're thinking about paying you a more salary instead of just hourly and so forth, right? So we all jump around a bit. As we grow, what we try to do is to look more stable so the big shots will pay us the money. Does it make sense?
Any sense, guys? Kind of, maybe.
All right.
I'm going to share with you my own personal one. So don't be afraid, okay? Don't get intimidated. So this is my own personal one. Gonna give you guys some highlights. So at the time you want to show your highlights, you want to emphasize on those. You know, maybe some couple of keywords: successfully work in a fast-paced, ever-changing, high-volume work environment. That tells me you're adaptable and you can handle stress and you can handle the situation. Should I put you on the grill and saute stations? Administration and kitchen management, hands-on. If you're bilingual, for God's sakes, put them in there. If you speak Chinese, French, whatever other language you have, put it on there, because that's going to be more. It's going to give you more on an edge to get it higher. Okay, and then of course your experience behind it, all the way at the bottom. Okay. So yeah, the longest time I've ever been at one job has been 7 years. And then of course you can have your technology, well-versed in cooking, preparing food in various fashions, including, like I saw some of you guys in foundations, right? You guys noted that you guys were meat fabrication, chicken breakdown, and so forth, so on. So you can go ahead and put that underneath it. Anyways, put this on the topic. Well-versed in cooking and preparing food in various fashions, including, and then leave it blank. So when they ask you, well, what do you know how to cook? Then you can go in more detail. So you give them a little more to dig in and more to ask, because you want to give them interactive. And then you can put down maybe the bottom broiler, saute, grilling, frying, presentation, qualifying and franchise cooking, high volume. And then you can put the experience in the bottom with dates. Like I said, the longest one I've been there is seven years at one job. It's too long. And of course, education and any kind of accomplishment you guys may have. Okay, so now I give you some kind of guideline to work on it. And when, like I said, we're going to go over the resumes over the weekend and send them back to you guys at a time once we finish them. You leave the original ones as they are, but make a brand new one so you guys can take a look at maybe the difference, how to not fluff it up, but also put some of those keywords in it, because that's what even nowadays in technology, when you submit a resume online, the human resources, sometimes they don't see it. The computer catches it, and if it doesn't have certain keywords, it'll send it to another file folder, and they'll never see it and never print it. So you got to be able to hit those keynotes so your resume stands out, and they can actually open it, read it, print it, and pass it along. Because most of the times, if it's on the internet, it just goes to electronic filing. It doesn't even make it to the desktop.
Yeah, you can put it, if you don't have those keynotes, Chef, it's not something I know very much about, those keynotes, exactly what they are and stuff. I'm excited to hear what you have to say about that, because I can remember being, after finishing with Cordon Bleu and being out of work about 7 months, I got some jobs. They were okay, they paid the bills, but they weren't really what I wanted. And I was putting out sometimes, I'm going to say 10, 15 resumes a week. Mm-hmm. Or resumes with cover letters and applications electronically, and I just wasn't getting any traffic. In the end, I wound up getting one very good one, which helped me a good while, and then I took this coffee and one, and that's that. I've been there for all that time since. But I was pretty stunned how you have a job that looks exactly, it's right up your alley. You feel like you totally got the experience for it. Your resume says everything it should say to get them to look at you for that, and you don't get looked at. And a couple people, this is not the first time I was told, it's electronic. It's something in the way your keywords are not catching the attention of the they've got some program or a logarithm or something that figures it out. So anything you got on that might be useful to me and everybody.
There's an electronic recruiter. So when you submit your resume, it goes to them first through the system. Like I said, if it doesn't pick up those keywords, those elements, it won't make it to their desktop. It just goes to an e-file folder, and then never see it. Once they see it, they print it. You'll so when I used to get them, I used to scan them, and I see like the job. They hop around 2 months here, 1 week there. I'm like, why even bother bringing them in if I know I'm not gonna spend some time because they're gonna split in the next month or two. And sometimes I will gamble. Sometimes I'll bring them in and actually go for the whole interview to get a feel for what their experience would be, and then I will make based on that go for the next step.
Yeah. By the way, on resumes, I put out some feedback to I think 3 people last night. Looked at yours too, Kat, and I made some notes on it. Just didn't forward anything yet, but I'm kind of in progress on that one. So we have a start at these, and we'll be able to get a better look at them this weekend.
Yeah, we'll go through them one by one, spend our time with them, and we'll make a duplicate one and send you what we worked on it, so you can take a look at yours versus what we think it should look like. And then again, you can go in any route you want. You can even pay $100-some for a professional to go ahead and write your resume. That's cool, and they'll push it out, and you'll get more bites when you send it to the email. Okay, so that's what I would do. First look at the resume, take a look at the tenure. That's a big one. Take a look at their experience. And I've hired individuals with 0 experience, none at all. And they became very, very strong, several, either male or female, didn't matter who, what, when, and where, but they became very strong and got promoted within the company. They were successful. So it all depends on what your in-person interview, how you carry yourself, and the questions that you ask and how you answer them. That says a lot. Okay?
Yeah. Chef, one more thing I'd like to share, because I know that after this, we probably won't be having a formal conversation on it, but just the regular feedback, which is also very helpful. But some things that are on my mind after looking at some last night. One is organization. Sometimes you'll start a resume and you'll take out one line of some experience or something for some reason, or you're able to shorten the line, but you still got the space and you still got the bullet point with nothing behind it. An example like that, right? So just simple kind of organization and decluttering and cleaning up. Does it make sense to you guys? That you want the resume to look sharp, like someone paid attention to it, like they're really, really wanting it to, just like having your little cafe looking neat and sharp and clean with fresh paint on the walls and clean glass and all that. It's the same thing. It's about appearance and PR and the professional look of doing a good job. So that's one thing. The organization and the look of the resume, how it's spaced and all those kinds of things. Second thing is sometimes you'll have 3 pages, but the 3rd page only has like 2 lines on it. Not a good look. Do some editing and get rid of a few words, clean some things up, and get your resume onto 2 pages if that's the case. You don't want like a tiny part of a 3rd page. That's one thing. And then your keywords. Sometimes you have some pretty good experience. In a lot of cases right now, you feel like, well, I want to be a cook and I want to get in there and get going and develop experience. But how do I get people to look at me when my experience is thin like this? But on the other hand, maybe you just said, like someone just told me, I can't remember who it was, somebody worked at a place called Hank's. They said what the job title was, but they just said worked at Hank's. Well, I think I could tell it was a food service operation, but hey, what if it was cool food? What if it was a wine bar? What if it had, what did it have? I could only guess, right? So there's a lot of times there's opportunities to get a little more coverage on the page out of something you think is just some cafe job. Well, hey, if you made fresh pasta or worked the line or got to mess with specialty Italian dishes, anything like that, when the resume feels skimpy to you, look for things that can add some ink to your experiences and add some visibility to your experiences without making it like fluffy and, we all got a pretty good fluff detector, right? but sometimes you have some good experience and you're not doing enough to play it up. So think about those things as you go. And if anything that I see on this weekend, I'll be making comment on that to help remind you to be looking, seeing what you can do on it.
A big plus to your resume, I'm sharing the screen with you guys on mine, way in the bottom. Numbers. Numbers are important. Again, we're living down by numbers, right? Like this is my second job. I didn't put my first one because my resume was too freaking long, so I had to cut some off. So anyways, that one, if you guys can see it, it says assistant garde facility management, California, so forth, so on, Long Beach Convention Center, assistant garde chef, managing a staff of 5, managing, how many people do you manage? How many were under you? I managed about 5 to 15, depending on the business. Delegated banquet functions to assist 10 people to 7,000 customers. That's right, the largest banquet we ever did was 7,000 people, 3-course meal, sit down lunch. Clock in at 12 o'clock midnight, then go home to 2 o'clock the next day. Completed food requisitions orders for events ranging from 100 to 30,000 patrons. It was a 400,000 square feet of meeting space ballroom and facilities. So numbers also being important. If you work in the restaurant and on the grill on the station, how many covers do you handle a night? How many were you responsible for? What station? The next one here on top. Sous chef Terry Tanhouse, between 30 and 400 covers. So one of the things that I look at too is the number of covers. How many are you able to handle? Can you handle it? Because if you don't, then I'm going to ask you in the interview, how do you handle stress, and also how do you handle pressure? How do you work under pressure?
Another thing that has come up for me one time was I never really expected this question, but later I realized I totally should expect that question. How do you handle stress, you said, chef? And then how do you handle pressure? And the one that right along the same lines, they said, how do you handle conflict? Right? Because people pop a gasket or lose it or, get mad or things like that. And you got to deal with that. It could be you. It could be somebody else, though, too. And if you're looking for someone who they hope to be a chef or a sous chef, they want to know that you have given some thought to that. Maybe you have experience with that. Maybe it's just in the personal life. Maybe you've had some training. But, anticipate questions in the interview. And if you have something like that in your background where you took a class or a seminar or something like that, nothing is wrong with saying that on your resume, on your development, saying, well, I happen to be, I've trained in, point of sale systems and trained in purchasing system. And, oh yeah, by the way, I took a conflict management class. Right? You ever been in a police department or a school counselor or things like that? You know a little bit about that. Some of you might have things like that as well. And they can be important. They can be helpful.
And then some of the key words that you see on here on this little slide says contribute, coordinate, conduct, assist, interview, hire, coach, cancel, train, increase comment card evaluation, prepare, oversaw, created. Some of these are the keywords that the system looks for. So when you apply online, take a look at some of the keywords that you're able to utilize. And like I said, oversaw, how many do you oversee? What did you conduct? What do you contribute? So if you're sitting across from me, I'm going to ask you, what do you have to bring to the table? Why should I hire you? Why should I hire the person behind you?
There's a good.
I heard. I'm sorry.
Has anybody in our room ever been trained in how to train people? Maybe you're at the widget factory. Maybe you're at the lumber yard. Did you ever train new employees? Did you right, Raceland? So they probably showed you a little bit of kind of online stuff and some classes and probably some lectures, and you had to pass a test. Maybe it wasn't a huge thing, but it changed a little bit how you think about dealing with people. It's a skill you can share, right?
They had me shadow like the head manager as well. Like they made me do all the paperwork, and then they had me shadow the main manager and said just basically like this is how like to train someone, pretty much.
So you can use that on your resume. Train the trainer. So pretty much you were trained to be a trainer lead.
Yeah. So you start thinking about it. You got skills that you were forgetting in a lot of cases. You got them.
Now, what about the restaurant? Was it a 3-star, 4 diamonds? What kind of cuisine was it? Did it get recognized? If it was a mom and pop shop, how many covers do you serve? You know, what was your? If you were a manager, I'm going to ask you how much were your sales every day. So I'm going to try to estimate, see how much you can handle. Because if I'm running an operation that has the capability to accommodate 7,000 people, I want to make sure that I bring the right individuals. And they're not gonna you know, flake out, and they're gonna work and do the best they can. Because I will spend time with them to train them, mold them, and make them successful. And that's one thing you should be looking at when you hire the individual. How are you going to take that person, he or she, and make him successful to carry the vision that you instill on your restaurant, that you want to make sure that it keeps going day in, day out. Okay. So just some of the key points, some of the features on your resume. Okay. Questions? Okay. And I know you're probably going to have a number more classes, technical writing and what have you not, entrepreneurship. You're going to get more into how to build a resume. Even Miss Ann Derrick in the externship office, she will help you, again, rebuild or build your resume and send it out for you. And she knows all the tricks behind the back doors, how to get you in, how to get you guys in, to do a stage and to get an in-person interview. She might know the person behind their office, the desk, okay? So just keep that in mind.
One more short thought, Chef. Sorry, one more short thought. You do not want to have misspelled words on your resume at all. You should put it down for a while and come back and look it over yourself slow, not like you're trying to read it and understand the words, but more like you're looking at each word one at a time with 0 error on spelling. And you should have somebody else look at it for you a time or two. Sounds like a lot of rock and roll, but I'm a pretty good speller, and I still catch a later on, come back and see something. Oh, why did I spell like that? Oh my God, hope I didn't send it to somebody, right? And on a resume, I would say that some people will take the attitude that there's no excuse for a misspelled word on a resume, or incomplete sentence, or forgetting to punctuate. You ought to look it over so many times that it looks good no matter who's reading it. Okay.
Any thoughts? Okay.
I have a question, Chef.
Answer.
Okay. All right. So for our morning class, it was emphasized that our resume be only 1 page because chefs generally don't have the capability to go over more than that. So the one that I've sent to you is exactly 1 page.
Okay.
But I think it covers everything that is needed as far as the hospitality industry.
Okay.
So what are your thoughts on that 1 page requirement?
1 page is good, but the longer you work in this industry, you're going to build more experience, because a minimum tenure, you're going to have 2 years in one job. So within about a 15, 20-year time span, you're going to expand the resume. Now, you don't have to put every single job, like when you were in high school, you know, that's a long time ago. But you can have a 2-page resume. That's acceptable too. When it comes to 3 pages, that I would cap it. Mine was 3.5, so I had to cut it back. So 2 pages is good.
That's a real good thought, Mercedes. It can start to become too long, really, and some people really believe in keeping it so short. At some point, you feel like in order to compete, if you really think there's other folks out there that have some of the same skills, you are trying to tell the most and the best that you can tell about yourself that you have to say and so forth. And then you'll come along and some resume expert will come along and say, ooh, let's cut that down. Let's get it down to 1 page. And there was no way I was going to be a 1-page resume guy when I had 10 years. I didn't think that was the right thing for me. And then later, though, as you get more years into the business, people can tell you, okay, the resume only has to go back 10 years.
Yes.
So like I have like 4 years experience now, but my last couple jobs are long, like 5 years, 15 years. And so you can put my whole last 15 years, my whole last 20 years on about 1/4 of a page, right? So that just sort of becomes an individual choice. Maybe my most recent job, or even tailor it towards the job that you're really looking at, that you really want the most right now, tailor it towards that job and tell a little bit more of your recent experiences. that can aim directly at the target of that job. And so maybe a lot of your lines might be, a lot of your resume items might be just one line, worked here, did this, boom, done. But maybe the last 2 years you have a job where you did a lot of things that are specialized and very well suited to the job you're trying to get today or right now. Good. Give it some column inches and let them have it, you know, so they know they're not dealing with the lightweight on that particular area of expertise. And there's a lot of ways to do it. If you're thinking, you're going to make good decisions.
Yes, no, and I made sure to tailor because I was a former federal employee and our resumes could be up to 8 pages long. So I had a long version and a short version. So for us, when we started class, that was the first thing we had to do was to create a resume. So I had to create a resume from 8 pages down to 1 single page. So I had to tailor it to the requirements that was given to us, which I feel like I did. I made sure that I put my skills, my education. I was only able to put this particular school in because anything else would have put me over the requirements. Yeah. But I mean, I made sure to put all that information in there and make sure that it was tailored to where I made sure that my skills were listed as far as my knife skills, being able to work the equipment in the kitchen. My serve safe is listed, my GPA, the classes that I've taken so far. So it's really tailored to our industry.
That's good. And you can keep it to, go ahead, say Gary.
I was going to say, it makes sense to me. I mean, we all have to,
yeah.
I guess I just circle back to the same thing again in a way. If you're thinking carefully and you know why you're doing what you're doing, I think you're probably doing about right. I think when we're just doing anything just to get something on a piece of paper and we're not thinking, we're not spelling stuff right, and, you know, that's, I think, when we're asking for our resume to be less than ideal.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Here on the screen, there's 2 slots, right? This is my own personal resume. So first, you know, executive chef at, what is it, Midwest Regional Hospital in Oklahoma, okay? And the next one up is at a retirement community. Now, it's a little bit different, so I was not going to put everything that I did there because it will be repetitive. And so the thing you want to do, you don't want to do your resume, repeat the same thing over and over again. You want to change a little bit. You want to make sure that it's a little bit different. So from that to the next one, I expanded a little bit more because the responsibilities, it was a bigger property and there was a lot more to do. So you can go back to certain ones and maybe cut them down a little bit, but hit the bullet points. And the next one up, and you did a lot more, expanded them a little bit more. Okay, and even the next one, see that my most recent one is not a lot. Okay, so because I can't repeat the same thing over and over again. So it's just like a menu. When you have chicken here, you can have chicken 3 times on the same menu. You gotta have maybe chicken maybe once or twice, or rice and potatoes. So you gotta cut it down and try to reward it that you're not doing the same thing over and over again. So you can have a 2-page resume. This one it's 36 years of experience. That's why not 36, but I don't have it all the way down to 36. I have it back, I don't know, to a 95, and I started in 84.
About 25 years. You went back about 25 years, but you've been in the business 36.
Correct.
So at some point, some of the oldest stuff just sort of starts to fall away. I always think it's a great idea to still have a copy and be able to say, sure, I can show you the rest of that too. But yeah, at some point, you can put them to sleep reading a resume that's 3-4 pages long. Some people believe.
Right. Because the more you have on it, the chef is going to, any chef in industry, they're always busy no matter what, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So for them to sit down and take a look at your resume, you are getting a lot of time with them so they can take a look at information. But if you have too much on it, they're going to get distracted, they're going to lose interest. So you've got to keep it, I say 2 pages is fine. You know, here I go back to, at the bottom, I went back to 85, 84. But on the actual slots that I noted, yes, go ahead, Mr. Raisling.
So on the resume that I emailed to you and Chef Gary, I only mentioned my food service. I didn't put any of my sales or retail experience. Is that okay, or is that?
No, I will put them in because sales and retail, that means you can be trusted with money. You can be trusted with responsibilities. So you got skills with numbers. You got skills with organization, maybe inventory, maybe ordering.
Mm-hmm. There's also, I did inventory and ordering in my manager job. So
There you go. So it'll be a little different product than food, but still product is product. Counting is counting. Accuracy is accuracy. Getting organized to count. Those things are useful, right? And I would argue that we used to laugh about salesmen when I was a kid. Oh, selling stuff and this and that. And we had the idea that a salesman was a snake oil salesman. But actually, I really believe there's a lot of really, really great people as I've grown up. I think there's a lot of great people that make their living selling things. I mean, we need that, right? And I think there's great people skills in there. I've even learned to be a little bit of a salesperson, not outselling things this way or that. But when you're leading a small organization like a classroom, there's some aspects of that are sales. And I think there's honor in sales, and I'm not saying pop it all in there, Raceland, but if you believe it makes you a more interesting candidate, or there's some reason why it makes you a good candidate for a particular job you're looking at, I don't think there's anything wrong with putting some of that in there so you can show you've got those skills.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to work on yours too. You got a couple of good things here to expound on your resume, but I will leave out the when you left at what age. You want to leave out your age out of the resume, okay?
Okay.
It's part of I forget what law it is. You cannot be discriminated because of your age. So age got to be away. That's why when you put it on your resume, you can't put it all the way down if you're like, not dinosaurs like us, prehistoric, but if you have so much experience, somebody's going to take a look at their resume and say, no, they're like in the 70s, 80s. Why should I hire somebody like that? You know, why should I spend some time?
Right, Chef, you've been at it 36 years. I've been at it 40 years. I started pretty young, 19, I guess. Yeah.
So you got to be careful.
42 years. But it's totally possible somebody could look at it and say, oh, this guy's so old. There's a couple things. One, look at this long resume. This guy is ancient. He's going to step up in here. His back's going to be broken. He won't be able to move. Somebody bumps him. He's going to fall down, break his hip. Oh, my God. You know, people are going to have things in their attitude about that are not necessarily true, but it can color their attitude. The guy's too old. So in a way, if you tell all 40 years of your experience, you know, that's one thing. But if you got plenty of, if going back 20 years gives you plenty of experience to get the job you believe you should have, you don't have to tell them about the 20 years before that. You don't have to tell them the whole thing. You can always say, well, I was working even before that, but I only took my resume back 20 years. You're not trying to hide something. You don't need to basically cause people to think that you're a dinosaur. That's one thing. And the second thing is, I have run into this. You probably have too, Chef. You have a resume that has a lot of long experience on it and in-depth experience on certain things. Some people hiring for restaurants don't want you because they are afraid that you know too much. They don't maybe realize, like at my age, I'm just happy to be working. I love all kinds of work. I like people. I don't have the idea to come in there and take over somebody's life. You're the chef? Good. I'm glad I'm not the chef. Have a nice day. I'm going fishing. Enjoy your evening in the kitchen, chef. Right? But some people won't really realize that. They'll think, oh, this is Chef Miguel has a really impressive resume. Wow, I can't hire him. He could take my job. So you just, I don't want to make it too complicated, but there's things to think about, right? And always have somebody else look at your resume once in a while as well.
Yeah, but I will leave the age out of it because sometimes when you're not 18, I know certain states have certain laws, child labor laws. You cannot hire anybody that's below that age, 16 or 18 years old. Otherwise, you cannot work him more than 24 hours a week. So you got to be careful when you put your age and the years on the resume. You got to keep that out, okay? Same thing when you go hire somebody, you're not going to ask them, how old are you? Again, we're going to go into that later on, what to ask, what not to ask. Again, you can't, you might get in trouble with that one. Okay. All right. Enough of that.
That's way plenty. Sorry, guys.
So let's get into today. What are we going to talk about? Hiring, right? Who are you going to hire? Where are we at? Where is it? There we go. Okay. Hiring, deciding who to hire. Okay. Job responsibilities in different parts of the food service business. Explain the different levels of supervision and responsibilities with each. So what was your homework yesterday? What do we ask for you guys to do?
Resume?
No, make a resume.
No.
No.
So take a look at the job description that I sent you guys, each one of you guys, before they hit the kitchen. How to wash your hands, how to cook, and those certain things. So take a look at that overall and give me your thoughts. If you, how will you feel about putting that out before you hire somebody to your kitchen? Anybody read it?
I think it's still prevalent to today. I mean, even if the COVID-19 thing wasn't going on,
Mm-hmm.
I still think that all of those things are good practices for chefs, line cooks, everybody. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter even if you're not in the kitchen. Like, you should still be washing your hands and know the proper procedure, because that's how germs spread. That's how we all get sick from food, because of foodborne illnesses that we don't see and that we don't know are even there, you know?
Right. And you guys are, as owners, executive chefs, sous chefs, banquet sous chefs, you are going to have a lot of people walking through your back door applying for the job that you posted online, on the paper, wherever you advertise it in. You're going to have different kinds of folks coming in and applying for the job, but you have to be selective who is going to fit your establishment, who is going to be make you successful, who are you going to make successful, and who you're going to have time to spend with them. Because when you hire somebody, it's time, it's money, it's everything that goes with it on hiring a new hire. Like, let me give you an experience. Remember, I just showed you the picture of my staff that I hired, correct? Everybody was a uniform, because my whole mentality, if you're going to be in my kitchen, in my restaurant, then I'm going to put it up front. If you decide to work with me or for me, then you're going to have to wear the clean uniform, from the hat to the chef's coat to the pants, not some funky flame throwing pants or jalapeno peppers. No. Everybody's going to look the same. Second of all, everybody is going to behave the same. Professionalism. They're going to know about sanitation. They're going to have to wear gloves. They're going to wash their hands, wear a hairnet. They're going to have to treat the food like nobody's business as far as temperature. They cannot abuse it. And putting that out in the front, it's a contract. Okay, if you agree to work with me, this is what I expect from you when you come in to work in my kitchen. Because I guess my kitchen is my money. I'm paying you to do the job. So is your money, your kitchen, your name out there. So you want to hire somebody that's going to represent you, but also you're going to hire somebody that you can build upon, hopefully promote with him, because the ultimate goal is to take your second in command and make him so strong, so successful that you can move on to the next job, maybe a hire, and you can leave that person in charge of your position or your shoes. Okay. So deciding who to hire. Let me go back a little bit. So be careful who you're going to hire, because like that picture that I showed you guys of my team that I built, when I posted the ad, I had a long line out the back door by human resources of people applying for the same positions all over. I only had about, I don't know, 15 line cook positions, 2 sous chefs, 1 a.m., 1 p.m., some breakfast cooks. Anyways, I had a long line, and through the whole process, we weeded them out because, first of all, and nowadays, you got to hire somebody that their I-9 checks. That means they're going to come in, they're going to fill a social security number and driver license and all that good stuff, right? And you're going to have a system, you're going to check that with the national system, make sure that number, that birthday, that name and last name checks, because if it doesn't match and you hire that individual, he or she, they may be here legally. You're going to get a huge fine. It's going to cost you a lot of money. Okay. Now you can hire somebody like that underneath the table with paying cash. But again, I'm not advertising to do that. A lot of restaurants do that, but again, you got to stay within the laws. Okay. So anyways, we had a whole bunch of people coming like that. And unfortunately, some of them were very strong, but I could not hire them because they were not either here legally or they didn't have the proper documentation. Second of all, when you try to hire somebody, and again, you cannot discriminate with age, race, or religion, or anything. So the team that I built, it wasn't who looked good, because if we look back, you guys all watched the restaurant show video, correct? Okay. Now let me ask you this question: did he hire qualified staff?
No.
How did his hiring go? Who did he hire?
Are you referring to the Despirito video, Chef?
Correct. Yes.
He just hired people that he felt like he liked personally. It didn't really seem like they were being hired based on their qualifications.
Start with his mom.
He hired his friends, like someone that's not really professional, more personal. Like,
Right. And going back to hire the people he thought he liked, I'm going to piggyback on that, what Ms. Mercedes, what you said, because there was one girl who came in, she says, "Oh, I love you," right? And she got hired on the spot just because she said that, made that comment, right? And most of the staff that he hired, he was hiring not for the qualifications, just because he liked them. They had sometimes, maybe they had a great personality or they look good, okay? So he wasn't for the vision. So you're gonna have to decide to hire. Who are you gonna bring on board? Who are you gonna have in your kitchen? Because you cannot have anybody, like, maybe they don't take care of themselves. They got halitosis. They come in, there's this shovel. They come in like they step in the uniform overnight. Maybe they're more into themselves. You know, I used to work with a cook. They used to spend 30 minutes in front of the mirror combing his hair. 30 minutes. And guess what happened during the lunch rush? He got killed. He got murdered because he was never ready. Okay. So you got to hire qualified individuals. Okay. Not discriminate because of age, religion, race, or gender. Okay. I work with a lot of people, and believe me, I even work with convicted felons. I have one that was he was a convicted felon, and he was awesome working in the dry storage. He kept it sparkling clean, well organized, better than any other individual that I have ever had in that position. I took a gamble, hired him because he was convicted. I don't know what the offense was. I mean, that was up to HR, but we made a conscious decision to bring him aboard, and he was one of the best employees I ever hired. Okay, so even
sorry, Chef, I got a question about that. So this isn't me, but this is a friend of mine, right? He was a convicted felon, and he told the company, we're not going to name them because for reasons, but he told the company up front, and it was on the interview or the application, stuff like that, are you convicted felon? He did say yes, and specified what it was for, and got hired. And then like 3 months later, they did, like, I guess you could say, a reboot of employment, and he was one of the people to go because he was a convicted felon. And like, that's literally what they told him. Is that right, or is that like legal for them to do?
It happens. It depends on the offense. It depends on the conviction. Like, if you're a sex offender, I'm not going to bring you aboard, man, because, you know, I can't have the female staff being exposed to danger. Two, if you're convicted because of theft, how are you going to bring somebody that is very well known for stealing, murder, assault with deadly weapon? So there's certain items criteria that you might take a look at and decide, probably not a good fit for this place. So
I've got no idea about the legal implications of it.
Mm-hmm.
Chef, those are some pretty good questions, aren't they?
His was for just drug charges, like, and I mean, so you don't think that was like legal or anything like that, or like why?
Drug charges only if the company's policy is a drug-free, smoke-free, alcohol-free environment. Then you may be disqualified for bringing that employee aboard. But should they proceed to hire you, they had to.
Yes. They hired him and then let him go because they did a revamp, and like, I guess, I don't know if he slipped through the system or whatever, or what not like that. But like, once they found out, he was like, on the spot, you got to go.
That's really interesting. That's a hard one, and I don't think that, it doesn't seem to me that employer was right. I mean, they put him through a background test, didn't they? That's their job, to screen.
Yeah, they did it, and that's what I'm saying. Like,
we believe this guy can be okay in here. Then they put him in there, and then later they come back and say you can't be in here. It doesn't sound very good to me.
No.
Yeah,
that's literally what happened.
I have a question, James.
Go ahead.
Yes, go
Do you
ahead.
know if he had any infractions while he was on the job? Because I know something like that, if he has any infractions, then it could be considered grounds for immediate
Termination.
fire. Because I was reading, what is that? Gross misconduct. So that could be a
he was-
reason. Do you know if he had any issues like that?
He was a real people person. I mean, the only thing that I know of that, because I was a lead cook and I documented this stuff for the chefs and stuff like that. But the only thing that I ever documented about him not working, like not being at work on time, like 3 or 4 times out of the month, you know, and that was it. Like,
And was there any documentation? Because, I mean, thinking about the legal aspect of it, if there was any documentation, then he probably won't stand as good a chance. And if this is in Texas, especially, Texas is an at-will state, so they can
Yeah.
fire at will.
It was in North Carolina, and it's the same way. But there was like, I think he got written up twice for it, and that was it. So I mean, maybe that was the reason, and they're just like,
Well,
we're gonna blame it on.
Raises a good point, James. She says
Yeah.
that Texas is an at-will state, which is really that stuff can be used to cover a lot of sins on the part of supervisors and employers. They can say, well, you know, you can't work here anymore, and you can say, what did I do? I don't have a write-up. I don't have any write-ups. I have a solid record, and they can say, yeah, but you can't work here anymore, and you won't win that because of that law. I mean, you'd win in egregious cases, but that business of being an employment at will state means it's not for me. I can be working at will as long as you gave me a job, and I can work here unless I do something wrong. That's not what it means. It means I can work here until you come along if you're the boss and say, you're done, Gary, get out. And that thing covers a lot of bad tracks in some people's opinions.
And I mean, North Carolina's the same way. So those two actual written documentations, plus the fact that I guess he was a felon, I mean, it probably all played a part. But I was just wondering what your take was on it, like why that's even allowed, you know?
It depends on the company. If they want to take a gamble and hire you, like I had an awesome breakfast line cook. He was really awesome. Never late, never missed a date. But he was a chronic pot smoker, and we had a drug test. You had to go to get a drug test before you get hired on board. He failed 4 times, and the 5th time he was given another shot to come and take the test. Came out clean away and brought him on board. The best one we ever had. Had another one who was working with us, and unfortunately, the DA came knocking on the back door to take him out in handcuffs because he was transporting illegal drugs across state lines. So it all depends on the infraction. It all depends on the at-will state, and it all depends on a lot of factors. But again, it's up to your discretion if you want to hire somebody like that. But again, you're taking a gamble because if you have somebody that is chronically known for using illegal drugs, you don't want to have that individual under the influence in your under the clock. Should they get hurt? They can hurt somebody, or they can even hurt a customer.
I can share a little bit of experience on it, guys, just a little bit before we move on. Opening a new retirement, sort of a senior care residence facility 5-6 years ago, and cooks were very, very hard to come by. And the company was very strict about its employment guidelines. You know, you could be, you could be pee in a cup, drug testing at random and things like that. And certainly if you got a small injury on the job when you went to the emergency, if you had any kind of injury at all, you had to go. The kind of thing most cooks would walk over and tape it up and put a glove on and be right back in work in about 20 seconds. This is like, oh, you're going in to get that check because we won't have any injury go unchecked. Well, what you really got when you got over there, besides having your finger sewed up, was you got a urine test for marijuana, right? So there was that, and that's just how they choose to operate. But they would do a background check on anybody that you got serious about. Like once you finally said, okay, I want to make this person an offer, that person accepted an offer, and you say, okay, good, you'll be working, you'll be on the schedule, we'll notify you as soon as what came back. Well, their background check results, right? Find people, but you finally get one person that qualifies, and you can come to terms with what you'll pay and so forth between your boss and the new employee. You know, get them to say, this popped up in his background. It could be a green flag, it could be a yellow flag, or a red flag. Yellow flag meant maybe there's something in the background here that's maybe it's not serious enough to be prohibitive, but if you have a choice, you won't hire this person. The red flag is don't hire this person at all because we found this in the background. So I hired one person that had a yellow flag on him, and you know, it's I don't know very many employers now who are not using those. Almost all of them are using that background thing where you get a flag on somebody, it takes a few days. If they've been in Texas, if you're operating in Texas and their career has been mostly in Texas, you get their background back in about 2 days. If they've been all over the place, it might take you 5, 6, 7 days to get the complete background back where they'll actually give you their flag or not. So I think that there's a lot of bosses are trying to protect themselves by saying that they did their due diligence by paying for a background test. Something pops up, they can say, well, the background guys didn't flag that for us. I didn't know. Because they're worried about liability. They hire somebody who comes in and proves to be a problem later on.
All right. I mean, you can't get rid of the bad apple. Okay.
Right.
So anyways, deciding who to hire, job responsibilities in different parts of the food service business, explain the different levels of supervision and the responsibilities involved with each. So again, what was the decision-making process that led them to hire a cat, right? Who would hire somebody that does not fit? Like Rocco, he hired just left and right. He wasn't even looking at their skills, nothing. He was hiring whoever, whatever. As a manager, you have to decide who to hire. Get the word out there. Hiring from within can, in many cases, be the best place to look. This allows workers to move up the ladder and gain more experience and knowledge. People in your organization already know your philosophy. So let's say you have a position open, you move somebody to the grill. Now you have the sauté line empty. Now you ask your line cooks, do you know anybody that wants a job that you can recommend, refer to? That's the best, word of mouth. Hire within, okay? Hire within and also word of mouth, okay? What else? If you choose to hire outside the company, you can use job boards, help wanted signs, word of mouth, recruiting agencies. They know their policies and payments ahead of time, so you got to pay somebody to do the hiring for you, okay? Or you can hire the system and you know, read out the resumes online, okay? Writing job descriptions. Again, we went over the last couple of days yesterday, and you guys have an extra bonus, you know, of the ones I used to give my cooks before they step from the kitchen. So when you just do and make it create a job description, this has to be covered on, you know, we covered that on day 4. The title, short and clear, line cook, job summary, 2 or 3 sentences. What is it about? Task responsibilities. If you guys don't know what a job description is, go to Indeed, type in, search line cook, Austin, Texas, and they'll put up a whole bunch of, hopefully nowadays, if they haven't moved them or taken them out of the way, they'll put up all kinds of line cooks and all the responsibilities, what they're looking for, okay? Qualifications, and again, a lot of people put, you know, required but not needed, or in those kind of words, like they might say a TABC, ServSafe, or, you know, this and that, but they might look at that just to make sure that if you have it, that's an added bonus. If you don't, they're probably gonna hire you too, okay? Work conditions, any physical requirements, must lift up to 50 pounds, right? Because in the kitchen, even a case of fried oil weighs about 50 pounds itself. Back in the days, we used to get the blocks of butter. They used to weigh 50 pounds, 50, 60 pounds. And we used to put them in the deep fryer and clarify the butter on massive amounts instead of one at a time, okay? That's what we used to clarify butter in the past, okay? Salary benefits, not necessarily monetary amount, but rather hourly, salary exempt, not exempt, full-time and part-time. Most of the times, this job works will have, you know, X amount of money a year or per hour, okay? And they'll specify full-time, part-time. Also keep that in mind. Picture the person who will be good at everything in the job requires, okay? Who are you going to hire to come in and do the best they can? Okay, the best butcher in your steakhouse, the best saute man in your saute session, the best pantry, the best dishwasher in your back of the house, the heart and soul of the operation. Okay, break it down and list every individual responsibility. So let's say you open up a new restaurant from the grounds up, you got to take a look at each station and put yourself there and jot everything down that entails running that station. Okay, and then create the job ad. Think about their personal qualities. What kind of person will be good for this position and will they fit in that team? Okay, again, fit in the team. You got to make sure that you bring somebody in your team. Like even now in classes, you know, you have no choice. Well, you do have a choice. You can switch classes back and forth. But when you go through Serve Say Foundations 101, you guys don't know each other, correct? From the past. This is the first time you guys been together in one room, right? And
Oh,
then,
a bunch of them were in the foundations.
right. And then you go to your first week in the kitchen and you start figuring out who's who, and you start looking at your personalities. I know Ms. Mercedes, I know people thinking about Ms. Norma.
Yes, chef.
So when you go in the kitchen, you don't know who is next to you, right? So you got to think about their personality qualities. What did they have to bring on board? Because when you guys go in the kitchen, again, you guys don't know anybody. So when you set foot on the ground to start working with each other, then you find out your true colors within about 2 weeks after you're in the kitchen. When you hire somebody, that's one of the questions that I always pose. How do you handle stress? How do you work under pressure? Can you handle a rush of 200 people in 1 hour? Can you crank those steaks? Can you crank that salad? Because I want to see those numbers on your resume of your last job. If you're working as a line cook on the grill, how many covers did you do? Did you do 600? Or did you only do 15 covers? So you made 50 covers, then and we're a high volume restaurant that serves 600 covers a night for a service, and 80% of those orders are coming in for the grill. I might not want to put you there. I might want to put you somewhere else until you can prove yourself that you can man that station. Okay. So think about who's going to fit your team. Okay. Doesn't matter. Like I said, you can't discriminate, but you got to look at their qualifications, their experience, and their willingness to learn. Okay. How eager they are to work with you and for you. They don't want to learn from you. Okay. They want to work for you. It's not just monetary drive. You also got to think about the investment. You as a potential employee, what are you going to get out of it? Okay. I'm working for the money and working for the experience, but I want to rob the chef from his information from his brain. I want to rob him from his recipes. I want to know what he knows. I want to be in his shoes. That should be your goal every time you get a job. Okay. And if you do, you know, somebody asked me when I was hiring somebody and during the process, the interview, and I said, well, why do you want to work here? And he said, I want your job. What? I didn't take that as a threat. I looked at him and was like, okay, explain to me why did you make that comment? Why do you want my job? He went and proceeded, well, I want to work here. I want to learn everything there is to know at each station. And I want you to teach me how to do the ordering, how to do the inventory, how to do certain things, because ultimately, he said, I want to be in the executive chef's position one of these days. And that's my ultimate goal. He wasn't telling me what I wanted to hear. He wasn't brown nosing. He was being honest of what his goals were. And that little click in my head is like, okay, maybe I can take a gamble and hire this individual. And I can train him, mold him, and bring him up to speed. So when it's time, maybe he can get promoted within, and maybe he can get to that point. So if I don't leave this job, maybe within the company, I can send him to another company. And guess what? I sent him to a couple of trips. His name is Julian Flores. I sent him to Omaha, Nebraska, to take over the one of the properties because they were down an executive chef. He came back and he actually got hired to one of the sister properties. He's now the executive chef at the Northeast San Antonio Retirement Community, the military retirement community, which they feed about 800 residents breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Big name now. But again, he said, I want your job. I was like, all right, let's go for it. See what you got. Okay. So you want to hire somebody that's actually going to do what you do. Okay. Qualifications versus potential. You must know if the applicant has the capacity to do the job. Can they perform the job? Okay. Sometimes you got to roll the dice. I hired an intern from the Philippines over the internet, over Skype. Had never met her before. Didn't know who she was until I saw her face in video. And then I proceeded to, through HR, proceeded to ask questions. And when she came, she was like about 3 foot nothing, really small, really tiny, and but fearless. And she said, she came to the kitchen and she said, "Chef, I have no experience in the kitchen." All right, okay, I'm gonna train you. With no experience, when I left, she was working, manning the grill, cranking about 150 covers on a Friday or Saturday night. Okay. More importantly, though, it is what you do that feels what you do feel is their potential. Can they learn and can develop the skill? If you think they can, then do not hire them. Okay. If you don't think they can, do not hire them. So you got to feel for them. Okay. And sometimes you don't know. So you got to give them the 90-day professional period. I told you guys a story yesterday about the pastry chef that I hired, right? Stellar resume, said that I could do. And when it came down to it, I was like, the heck does this wedding cake look like? It looked like a blob. Okay. So sometimes you have to roll the dice. Do they want the job? Have they done research? Remember, this is when you are looking for a job too. So it goes vice versa, both ways. Do they have a vision of what they will do in your company? So when you guys are applying for a job, again, like we talk about, go and scope the place up, go and park yourself in front of the food truck, check it out, go inside, order lunch, okay? Go online, take a look at the menu, do your research. So when you go in prepared and asking your questions. Because again, you're taking the time and investment to spend on an individual. Okay, avoid fallacies. Avoid these 4 fallacies when hiring: the halo effect, cloning effect, top of the mind effect, your personal opinion. Avoid all those. Okay, we're gonna get into those, what they mean. Okay, halo effect. Only one exception: all quality. Don't ignore all the flaws. Must be well-rounded. Okay. It's a principle of psychology which states that our perception of others can create a perception of a halo above the heads, which can often be misguided. In other words, we have to see only what we want to see. I'll give you a prime example. Remember that place that I had on my resume that we fed 7,000 people for banquets? The chef fell into this, I was not the chef back then. The chef fell into this category. There was a guy that came in, clean resume, stellar resume, all the keywords and all the fluff and all that good stuff. Suit and tie, clean cut, okay? Came in, and of course his dad was a celebrity chef in San Francisco. So obviously his name stood out. The chef hired him on the spot, okay? Because he saw something that was not there. During the process of, we were doing a breakfast banquet of 3,000 people. That's right, 3,000, clock in at 12 o'clock midnight, broke into teams. A team of 4 is doing the bacon, and then he was on the bacon part. And then someone else, the scrambled eggs, the garnish, and we all came together like around 4 o'clock in the morning, and we started plating up the breakfast. Well, right about 600 plates to go, we're out of bacon. Okay, chef is hollering, yelling. He's from Morocco, born and raised in Brooklyn. You can just imagine his demeanor. And his tone. So he pulled us all outside, ripped us apart. We went back in, pulled other boxes back in, went through every single plate, removed 1 piece of bacon, and saved it and plated the last ones that only had 1 single piece of bacon. Nobody said anything. Yeah, go ahead, chef.
No, I was just laughing. That's a crazy story. I'm thinking all the effects of letting plates get cold and all the extra time it took to reshuffle all that bacon. Yikes.
Correct.
Simple thing like bacon, and running out of that.
None of that. So, we finished, and then we went back, and we finished, we cleaned up, and we called it a day. So the next week it was really slow. There was nothing going on. So the whole entire kitchen was closed. So the week after, the executive steward came in with this dishwashers to deep clean the kitchen. And we have one of those ovens that is one of those doors, like a closet. And in the speed racks are metal. You roll the speed rack in it. There's a clamp on top. Grab the speed rack, and then rotates it as it's being heated all the way around. So anyways, he went to clean, and one of the ovens in the way in the back where the bacon was at, he found a full speed rack of burnt bacon. The guy had no guts, and he didn't man up say that he burned the bacon, or he didn't give us an alert. So you got to be careful who you hire. You cannot just hire because the looks or the resume or how they perceive themselves. This is the halo effect. You're seeing something that is not there, okay? Yeah, the banquet could have been a disaster. They were paying about $120 per person. What if the head table only got a plate that was cold and only 1 piece of bacon, right? Yeah, you have to refund the whole entire banquet. Think about it. $120 times 3,000. How much money would the company have lost?
Whoa.
It's a lot of money, right?
Oh yeah, a lot of money.
Halo effect, okay? Cloning effect. When someone is very similar to you, remember the differences from you might take them, make them better, suited for a certain position. I never hire anybody that's like me. One of the great success stories in the picture that I show you, my executive suit, he was the total opposite of me. He was like Chef Raph. We're the good cop, bad cop combination. He was very, very mean, never smile, and he was always grumpy, but he was a teddy bear inside. He had a good heart. So anyways, I will never hire anybody that is like me because sometimes it's not a good mix, okay? Sometimes you gotta hire the opposite to balance you off, okay? Just like a partnership, that other person is gonna balance you off, okay? Top of the mind effect. Look at all the candidates again, review their resumes and notes you took during the interview. Remember the good qualities and the bad. Don't just look at the last person interview. This happens when we become fatigued and just want to get over with it, especially at the end of your shift when the breakfast, lunch, and dinner is served. You want to get the heck out of there. You want to go home, but then you're short-staffed, so you got a pile of resumes that you got through them. You want to go look at them, but your mind is not there. Your mind is back at home and hopefully in your bed and get some sleep. So you gotta go. You gotta make some time to go to your resumes. I used to make time, sit down, and go through them one by one, read them, and make a call, send an email on the ones that I will bring in for the in-person interview. Okay.
Chef, I know something happens to me if I have to interview several people in maybe I have scheduled 4 interviews in the morning. Like breakfast slows down at 8:30, and then I can't really be by 10:30 I got to be back looking at what the lunch line people are doing and so forth. So I got really about 2 hours to interview some people. I got to keep those interviews down to about 15, 20 minutes each in that case because I got to take a few minutes between each interview and make a couple notes too. Because later on you'll think, oh, that one guy was great at this and this and this. Oh wait, there was somebody else. You might take the three good qualities of the 3 different candidates and think it was all the first person you talked to or something like that. You can really mix it up. You really got to make a couple notes and just a few simple notes on each person you talk to help you remember exactly what you really saw with that one person. Then later it starts to be a little easier to make a decision, call somebody back for a second interview or something like that.
And what I used to do, that I used to work with me, I used to give the resume, maybe to my leader, my sous chef, hey, what do you think about this line cook? Because I was not going to just base it on my own thoughts. I used to get a second opinion about that individual, he or she, whether it was a good idea to bring him in or not. So don't take it upon yourself. Run it through even through your restaurant manager. Ask him, hey, what do you think about this individual? Should we bring him in or not? Or what do you think about the qualifications? Because they must see something else that you might not see. So
they might also happen to know them.
Yeah.
Food business is a small world.
It's a very small world. I was in Oklahoma and I was looking for a job, and I was applying for a country club in Edmond, Piedmont, way up north, which is a lot of, it's a lot of money. And I went to interview with the food and beverage director, and this was in 2010, 2011. And I had worked here in Texas back in 02, 05, and 03. There was a food and beverage here that I used to work with. And that guy in 2010 knew that food and beverage that I used to work with here in Texas. And, before he called me in, he called him and said, hey, do you know this person? And sure enough, it's a small world, guys. You never know who knows who and what the word is out, okay? So personal opinion, don't hire the best friend or someone you personally like based on this feeling. Hire the person who is best suited to fill this position. Because if you hire your best friend to work with you, guess what happens? They might not like the job, or they might be horrible employees. I have worked with individuals that, again, I just gave you the example last couple of days ago. My lead line cook at nighttime, my sous chef, I hired his girlfriend to work with me as a pastry chef, and she didn't work out. I made the decision that, okay, well, he's my awesome PM sous chef, so his girlfriend might be an awesome pastry chef. Didn't work, okay? So you got to make the right decision, the right choice. Remember, if you're hiring a chef, okay, Consider the qualifications, skills, speed, consistency. They also must have leadership skills that match your philosophy. They should be able to balance a budget and optimize food costs. Okay, I'm going to stop here in a minute. So let's say that you're hiring a chef. What do you think about this little slide here? What are your thoughts about this one? How would you hire a chef? What would you do?
You would host a stage.
Yes. And during that stage, what are you looking for?
You're looking for all these things. You're looking for their skills, their speeds, their cuts, their knife skills, whether or not they're able to get everything done with as little accidents as possible.
Right. And the stage, when I used to hire chefs, executive sous or sous chefs or banquet sous chefs, I will, again, get the resume, read over it, get a second opinion, maybe a second or third opinion, make contact, bring them in for that in-person interview. And of course, interview them, make sure that they were very well dressed, because I had some people walking into my back door for the job interview, believe it or not, in flip-flops, in shorts, and a t-shirt, looking for a sous chef job position. I'm like, really? You're going to show up like that to this kitchen, show disrespect for the profession, and you're going to walk in and look for this job? Nah.
Thumbs up to that guy. That guy was a true professional right there.
Yeah, I'm like, next. Because if you're going to show up for a job interview like that, they are not going to be able to want to wear the uniform. And if the company requires that you wear the uniform, they're not going to work out. Okay. So I will do a mystery basket. Once I got them into the interview, schedule them to come in for the next day, do a stage, but I will get them a mystery basket. In a mystery basket, I will get a speed rack and load up all kinds of random ingredients. And then I will go ahead and do a whole chicken and a steak. Okay, whole chicken and a steak, because I want to make sure that they knew how to break down a chicken. They had a nice skills how to break it down, and they knew how to cook a steak medium rare. And we went over those foundations, and I know some of you guys are instructed to, when you cook a steak, cook it medium rare, not well done, not burnt, not cremated or Cajun or blackened, because anybody or everybody can burn a steak, right? But not anybody can cook it medium rare steak. So anyways, I will do a stage, do a Mr. Basket, bring him in and give him a time frame. Okay, this is your station. I will walk him through, make sure that they knew where everything was. The pots, the pans, the cutting boards, sanitation buckets, the dish pit, the grill, the fry, the ovens, everything that they possibly needed to produce that menu. And I will give them a time frame, and I'll say, okay, your time starts at this time, and then ends at this time. The food and beverage, the GM, and I will be sitting in the dining room waiting for you to bring out your dish. And that's what I would say. And then he or she would go ahead and start working in the kitchen. And through my regular day, I will observe, and my cooks would also be on the lookout too, because I want to make sure that they were clean. Okay, they washed their hands, they had a sanitation bucket, they anchored the cutting board, they wore gloves, they had a full uniform, and they brought their own knives. Because if you're going to show up for a stage or a Mr. Basket with no tools, I don't know. Okay. And in the process, that we'll watch them here and there, making sure that the food was safe and it was good for us to taste and try his or her food. Then at the end, I will say, okay, we're waiting, and I will assign a server to help us out to serve the food. And that individual will go ahead and cook the food, plate it, and then we'll send it course by course with the server. He or she will come out with the food and explain what he or she had made, and the thought behind it. And I would ask him during the process, how much will you sell it for? Because I wanted to know.
How'd you like my red dress steak?
I wanted to know if that was that was good steak.
What did Daniel say?
No, he gave me a medium rare steak to try, and that was good steak. Yeah.
I think I gave you some too, Ackerman, Chef Ackerman.
All right. So I want to share just a little quick thing here about hiring. In the education world, we have to hire chefs too, and you can learn a lot about what somebody might do in the classroom, whether they're going to be loose on the lip, whether they're going to be sensible and all that, and also how they cook, what their habits look like, and all that. And we did not hire. We brought in for a cooking demo, a teaching demo, a young man that that I had known for quite a few years, and he had been my student like in 1998, and he was extremely skillful, and he was already a real cook. He was already working in a ritzy kind of Belgian and French places. And he mentored for years and years under a great Belgian chef who was both a restaurant chef and a teacher. And we just thought this guy is going to be a fantastic crackerjack, and he wants to work in Austin. And we brought him in for an interview, and he cooked okay. He touched raw chicken so many times with his fingers. He touched his face. He didn't wipe his cutting board after moving his raw chicken away. I mean, it was a horror show. The guy had every skill in the book except for sanitation. I would hire a monkey and hope I'd teach him something before I would hire that guy. It was maybe the worst sanitation show I ever saw from any professional cook. And he had skills off the charts, but we could not, when we got privately in a room where he wasn't there and we would discuss, okay, what do you guys think? Actually, laughter broke out. We were just like, we can't even think about this guy. We can't even think about hiring him. Like, where would you start? Been cooking 20 years and just raw chicken everywhere during a demo in front of a bunch of chefs. So he shot himself in the foot big time.
So you got to be
careful. Matters.
You got to be careful when you produce a stage in a Mr. Basket. You as the hiring individual got to take a look at all those qualifications. They're organized. That they keep their station clean. Is the plate hot when they bring the food out? Is the plate center of the plate? Does it have height? Does it have color? Does it have taste? Is it too salty? Is it burnt? All those things are taken into consideration. Same with you guys as you're applying for a job. Make sure that you have your plates hot. Make sure that you keep your stations clean. Just like any other day in the kitchen, right? Every time we go in the kitchen, I know Nick's not here, right, Ms. Mercedes, what was the big emphasis at 9:30 in the morning when you guys had your food down on your table?
At that time, you would be sending everything back. So we need to make sure that we had all our mise en place ready. And at 9:30, we were getting ready to plate up. So we had to make sure that if we needed a hot plate, our hot plates were already in the ovens. If we needed a cold plate, it was sitting back in the cooler. So we had everything in place for our plating.
Your tables were expected to be clean.
Clean, correct.
No clutter. Your plates need to be hot or cold, presented on time, and you guys need to be on your tables for the critique to be conducted, correct?
Yes, chef.
That, if you think about it, we do that on purpose. Well, I know I did that on purpose too, but a lot of chefs do that on purpose because we want to make sure that you are properly trained. When you do a stage or Mr. Basket, it's already in you. You know how to carry yourself, how to be organized, how to have your plate hot, how to be presentable, how to have your stations clean. So it all ties in, even to foundations. So think about it.
Chef.
It does make sense, right?
Yes, chef, absolutely.
And you as team, you guys were number team 2. When you guys are in foundations and when you guys go along the rest of the blocks, you're gonna take a look at your teammates' table and take a look at them and critique them as well too. Get some ideas, bounce some ideas off of them, see their food, because all of you guys have the same ingredient. All of you guys have the same product and the same time to produce the same food at the same time, okay? You can get more knowledge out of that, okay? So anyways, that's my take on that one. But anyways, Mr. Basket, we take a lot of great consideration because we make the time and effort to schedule and bring you aboard and have you guys do something like that. So when you guys are in the shoes, you guys are going to go through some great lengths to make sure you bring that individual to make sure that they have the mystery basket, okay? They also must have leadership skills that can match your philosophy, okay? They should be able to balance a budget and optimize food costs. That's why I always ask, how much does this plate cost? Even in foundations, I would ask them, how much do you think that you sell this plate for, okay? How much would it take to make it, okay? Now, they will say, okay, they will start thinking about it. So, okay, this will cost you maybe $2 to produce, but you can sell it for $10, $18. And that's your money maker. The way you present it and the way you think about it. Right, Ms. Mercedes?
Yes, chef.
It all makes sense now, doesn't it?
It does. This is going to be, I think, a very pivotal class for me as far as the numbers go. And, you know, because I'm sure a lot of other people, my classmates, you know, want to have their own businesses. And if they don't, then at least want to have the knowledge and the foresight of, you know, how things really affect the bottom line.
All of you guys should be taking notes and really taking this into consideration, because as you go down the kitchen blocks, take all this in mind. Be cautious, be a good steward to your product. If you come across my kitchen, I'm going to ask you guys, how much will you sell this dish for? How much do you think it's going to cost you to make? Because I want you to think more than just coming in, making a recipe and eating it. I want you to think above beyond what it takes to make that dish, what it took, and how much time you had to. And along the way, did you keep your station clean? Is it your skills, your speed, your consistency? Do you have any leadership? Hey guys, come on, let's go. We got to get this food out. And not, you know, be discombobulated and the whole entire team just crashes. You're going to have bad days, but again, take a look at the leadership skills, because if you're going to bring somebody that's a sous chef to get hired, I want to take a look at, see how well they get along with my line cooks, my staff, the server that I assigned to him or her to help them serve the food, even to the dishwashers. Are they cleaning the station before they leave, or are they going to just grab the tools and go and leave the mess behind them? Okay, so when you do have a mystery basket, you have a stage, make sure that you go in, clean your station if it's not clean, set it up, organize, produce what has been asked for you guys, deliver it, talk about it, even throw some numbers here and there, go back and thoroughly clean your station. I always talk about, you know, I tell about the story in my classes, you know, when I was in the kitchen a while ago, and I know Chef Gary probably heard this before. I went one Saturday to work, and it was really busy. I was a 3 to 11 pantry cook, and the 7 to 3 guy got slaughtered because he messing with his hair, 30 minutes. So I came in, and as soon as he came in, he grabbed his knives and split. The whole place was a mess. There was no place to work. The printer was spitting out tickets. Servers were howling for their food. The floor was trashed. All my instruments were empty. So I made a little space and started working. He comes the executive chef, stops, looks at me. He said, "Go ahead and clean your station." And I looked at it and was like, I'm 18 back then. Like, "Chef, this is the morning guy's mess." So he said, "You mean to tell me that when you go to use the restroom, if you see the toilet seat soil, are you going to sit on it, or are you going to wipe it before you sit on it?" Okay.
With everything you had going on, you still had to try to get on top of that mess in that station.
Correct. So
yeah,
So the point of when you go on a size or a Mr. Basket, make sure your kitchen is, your station that they give you is clean. If not, clean it, because you're producing food. They might throw you into a dirty station, see how well you perform. And when you leave, make sure you leave your station clean or cleaner than you found it. That tells me a lot from you, okay? And that says a lot of you to the person that's interviewing you. Okay, so make sure that it's well cleaned. Don't just grab your knives and run, okay? What else? Checklist of things to look for when hiring. Will the individual fit with the colleagues in the department? Does the finalist have an appealing personality? Would we enjoy working with her or him? Does the candidate possess all the skills necessary to excel in the job? Does the individual have the appropriate depth and type of prior experience? Does the candidate have the technology proficient to get the job done? Does the applicant possess the licenses and or certificates required for the job? Does the individual have the knowledge, expertise, and information base to carry the job respectively or effectively? And I'm looking at maybe somebody as a sous chef, somebody higher in the food chain, but even so, you come in as a line cook, what do you have from this bullet points that are going to benefit that job that you're applying for? What do you bring to the table? What do you bring to us that they're going to maybe want to hire you? Okay. What else? What else? Does the finalist have the required academic background? Is it did you guys, the one I'm interviewing, did he or she went to culinary school? Are they in school? Did they graduate or they drop out? There's a lot of people, you know, they come into school, then drop out, but they leave it on their application, their resume. So when they come in, I will ask them, so when do you graduate? Well, I didn't graduate. Well, if you didn't graduate, you know, I would ask him, you know, not personal question, well, you know, what probably to not graduate? And then we'll disclose, hey, well, it has some, you know, personal issues, or if they don't want to talk about it, it depends what the answer would be. I'm like, maybe they don't want to, they start something, but they don't want to finish it, okay? Does the candidate have the positive can-do attitude? Okay, because one thing that we do hate in the industry, it's not my job, right? No speak English, no habla inglés, right? Right? Same thing goes in the kitchen blocks, right? How many times have you been in the kitchen and the dish pit is a mess, and nobody has idea that, oh, it's my dirty dishes. Now you got a dish pit that is like Mount Everest. Now you're cussing and cursing because you got to go clean the mess. You got an hour and a half to clean up before you go home, right? Can-do attitude as a team. You come in as a team, go as a team. That's what we're looking for, team players, okay? Does the applicant have a strong work ethic and a high energy level? I'm not talking about doing cartwheels and running around like a chicken with their head cut off. I'm talking about, does the applicant have a strong work ethic? Are they on time? Do they carry this in professionally? Do they do the best they can every single day? Do they have the energy to produce what is expected from them? Because remember, when you apply for a job, you are getting paid by the hour, not by the day, okay? Does the candidate have the confidence and experience to be the leader, okay? There are leaders and there are followers and there are people that are complacent. If you're one of those complacent people, more power to you, because I work in kitchens. The line cooks have been there for 15, 20 years, and that's fine. That's what they want to be. I'm okay with that too. But if you're a follower, do you follow the stronger leader? Or if you're a leader, show me. I maybe want to follow you. Maybe I want to follow your footsteps and learn from you, okay? If you have a leader, maybe you want to mold that person to be somebody in management within your brigade, okay? Has the application proven that they have added value, made improvements, and positively impacted the bottom line, okay? So application proven that have added value. What's on the application? Not some lie or some fluff. I mean, it's a solid application, okay? So with this one, just be careful, because a lot of people will do things and not things of the application that are untrue. They're little white lies, fibbing, okay? Would the individual be a good team player? We're looking for team players. We're not looking for I, me. I'm looking for we as a team. Because if you're looking for just me, myself, and I, what happens when you're in the line and the saute guy is crashing because, you know, they got slammed? Is the grill cook going to say, that's not my job? You know, or are you going to help him and jump in and help him out? Okay. What else? Would the individual be a good team player? Can the finalists communicate clearly and effectively? Is the candidate a good long-term prospect to fill in higher level jobs? Is the application likely to stay in the position for a long enough period? Will she or he be happy in the role? Is she or him overqualified? These are good bullet points, guys. The candidate, can they communicate clearly and effectively? Okay.
What would you classify as overqualified, Chef? And would you even hire them if you thought they were overqualified for the position they were hiring for? Or would you hire them for something else?
It's an individual thing, don't you think, Chef?
It's an individual thing. It depends on the job position, because if they're overqualified, I mean, I will still hire them. But sometimes when not everybody, but a small percentage of individuals, they got a chip on their shoulder. They think they're overqualified, so they want more money. And the worst things that I've ever heard from somebody coming in, applying for a job, is how much are you paying for an hour? How much are you paying? I'm like, what? That's the first question you got? Next, okay? I don't want somebody to come in here and they think that God's greatest gift of the culinary world. I want somebody that's going to come in and abide by the same rules and guidelines as everybody else and have a passion for the food, okay?
So there's a few other things to share in there too, Chef. So if I'm overqualified for a prep position at some nice restaurant, the chef could say, well, I'm not going to hire Gary. He's been the executive chef. He's owned a business and all that. He's going to be unhappy all the time. He's going to think he knows better than everybody. He's going to be bored. He's going to think he should be the boss. That's going to be a train wreck. That could be true for some people. But for somebody else, it could be, you have to find out what you can learn about them in the interview and why they want that job, why they want to be in that job, right? Like at some point, maybe I still want to work, beer money and fishing money, right? Or whatever. And, retire, got Social Security coming in, got a little savings, and I still want to work a little bit. I enjoy it. And I look the guy in the eye and say, no, I don't want your job. I want to do everything I can to help your job be good. You need me for something extra, I'm there, I can help you. I like to work. I'm a happy person when I work, and I think I'm reliable and I know everything it takes to do what you need me to do, and you're the boss and I'm not. And so that person could look at me across the table and say, oh, here's a pretty good employee. This person understands their role in here. They're not all messed up over it and not messed up in the head over it about not being the boss. I don't want to be the boss, right? So You could have somebody else, though, they were some kind of big shot somewhere and status is important to them and they're dissatisfied, but they got to have some kind of money to meet the rent. They're not happy and you hire them. And sure as heck, within 2 weeks, you start to get these little vibes. You figure out, oh, this guy's not happy. He doesn't think I should be the boss. He thinks he knows everything. He doesn't think I know anything. He's trying to intimidate me. He's hoping I'll quit. I mean, that's a different kind of overqualified person, right? So not everybody fits a mold. You see someone with more qualifications than they would really need to take a certain job. That person could become a giant pain in the neck to you. You know, a different person with more qualifications than they really need for that job might be perfect, right? Like, hey, I love coming in here every day. It's not high pressure. I use my skills. People ask me questions. They need something extra. I can help them out. I work 7 or 8 hours and I go home when the boss wants me to go home. It's all good. Come back, smile the next day, reliably all the time. Somebody else may not be like that. So I think it's totally an individual thing.
It is. Just, you know, to go on the broader view on that one, when you hire somebody that's overqualified and they accept the job conditions and terms, then that can be one of your maybe train the trainer, or maybe you can have somebody like that teach the other ones the different skills that they have not been taught, or you may not have the time to teach if they're willing to go that far. Because sometimes they don't want to have that headache. They want to just go in, clock out, and go home. But they have all this knowledge that you may be able to tap into it and be beneficial for the whole entire team. So it's, you know, yeah, it's your call who you want to hire on that spot. Okay. What else? Does the individual fit within a corporate culture? Can the candidate cope with the pressures and stress of the job? How enthusiastic is the application about the job? Can the finalist innovate, think outside the box, and creatively meet challenges? Is the individual aware of the weaknesses, comfortable with a constructive criticism, and motivated to improve themselves? All those bullet points, okay? Can they fit the corporate culture? Let me go back a little bit here and tap into your show you what I had and share with you guys, right? Fit the culture. Where we at? Here we go, okay? And again, I go back and refer to this one. What do you see here?
All I see is the same document that you just had up.
Hold on. Let me exit that one. Okay. Sorry. I forget I got to go each one individually, so forth and so on. Okay.
Cam, you awake?
What? Was he snoring?
No, he's wide awake.
No, I'm wide awake.
That's what I said.
I just got my comfortable pillow.
Okay, let me see if I can share with you guys, all right? Oh, come on, where is it? Really? It's gonna do me like that? I'm trying, guys. All right, can you guys see that picture, or is it still the?
Yep.
It's on your, it's on your thumbnails.
All right. You go back. Let me try another round, okay? Hold on, guys. I'm a little technical difficulties because I want to show you guys something real quick. All right. All right. No, it ain't working. My apologies. Anyways, the picture that I showed you guys a while ago that had my team on it, right? Remember that one?
Yep.
Okay. So the picture that I showed you guys that had my team on it, everybody was in their chef's whites, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
What else? What does you guys remember from that picture?
People smiling. A lot of accomplishment going on there. Everybody dressed sharp like they mean business. Beautiful hotel banquet room.
Because of the company culture. What I was trying to get to is the company culture, because sometimes when you work in a big hotel, I mean, you gotta carry the same mentality and the same the same culture. You gotta carry the same vision. So in this case, the picture that I showed you guys a little while ago had to deal with anyways, the company culture. Because the company culture back then, we had to have the hat, the apron, the chef's coat, the whole 9 yards. Same in school. Think about school. It's a company culture, right? Company culture. You got to go into the classroom and to the kitchen with your chef's hat, your apron, your chef's coat, your pants, and your shoes, right? So that you fit in an environment like that. And I always talked about Magnolias of South Congress because that's a different culture. You go in the restaurant and you see the lifestyle behind it. They're wearing t-shirts, jeans, baseball caps facing backwards, long dreads, long beards with a hairnet on it. They're not in professional attire uniform, but that's their company culture. So you got to hire someone that fits in your company culture. I'm not talking about tattoos or piercing, none of that, but talk about the culture that you create. Okay, can the candidate cope with the pressures and stress of the job? Okay, when you hire somebody, everybody's different. You don't know who, what, when, and where. But when you hire somebody that can manhandle that grill station at 300-400 covers a night, are they able to handle it without walking off the job, without cussing and cursing, slamming things and left and right? Do they get an order or two? And they're not gonna. Are they going to be able to handle the hollering and screaming of the chef? Where's my food? Be careful with that steak. It's overcooking. Take a look at the one in the oven. Maybe it's too long or not yet. Send it back. Can you handle with such things? How enthusiastic is the applicant about the job? Are you very enthusiastic? Do you want to work for that position? Or just like, don't care, whatever, okay? Can the finalists innovative, think about outside the box, and creatively meet the challenges? Now, I was trying to go back to the picture because the executive sous chef that I brought with me, we were the opposite. We were always thinking, he was always thinking outside the box, and always used to tap on him when we used to, come up with these crazy ideas about food and cuisine, okay? Is the individual aware of the weaknesses, comfortable with constructive criticism, and motivated to improve themselves? Now, when you go apply for a job, they're gonna ask you, what are your weaknesses, right? Have they asked you that before? What are your strengths and weaknesses?
Oh, yeah.
What have you
Yes, chef.
What has been your answers?
My weakness, well, one of my weaknesses, something that I have to actively work on, is sometimes asking for help. I'll wait until I've exhausted all options before actually asking for help, but that's something that I'm actively working on.
Yes, that's an important thing. It's cool to share it as well, Mercedes. And there's a lot of folks that suffer that, and they'll get themselves in a little too deep and ask for help finally a little too late and things like that. It's not like, it's like if you're saying that's you sometimes, well, it's a lot of people, right? And it's a good thing for everybody to work on.
Yes, chef.
Anybody else, chef?
I'm the opposite, really. I tend to ask for help probably too much, and that's probably one of my greater weaknesses. Is I'll be constantly asking questions, and sometimes, and I've seen it makes some people upset that I ask a lot.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And
well, in my experience, like some of the kitchens that I worked in, they want me to do it myself, and because they have their own things, they don't have time to answer all of my questions. So.
Sure. Yeah. Anybody else have any? I'm not looking for like the deep, dark personal secrets, but I'm saying, you know, you have a weak spot that you can think of that could cause you a big challenge in a restaurant job, in a kitchen job. What is it?
Mine is I tend to get big headed a little bit, and I
a little bit
following the recipe.
Supposed to be nice here. Let the man talk.
Love you, Cam.
If I'm following the recipe and I see it probably need a little tweak or something, I'll put it in there. And then later, if they ask me, I'll be like, yeah, I did, because I thought it needed a little help. In reality, it did help, but it wasn't my move. I overstepped my boundaries. That's what I do.
So sometimes you have a situation, you know the menus well, you know the restaurant well, and the chef has given you a little bit of trust to make new recipes, things like that once in a while. On the other hand, the chef might have a very, very very popular recipe that the chef developed, and the chef has a good crowd that's happy to come in and get it just like you do it. And what's the chef wants you to do with that recipe, Cam? What does the chef want you to do with that recipe?
He wants you to leave it alone. That's his.
Make it just right. That's right. Do it like this. It should be just as if the chef was there, right? The Chef Miguel's got the most awesome avocado, jack cheese, and basil omelet with some smoked turkey in it. And he goes off to go fishing one Sunday because he's had enough. And pretty soon he comes back the next Sunday and his customers saying, man, I don't know, Chef, that awesome avocado omelet wasn't so great last week. What did he do? Well, I don't know. I mean, they had some rosemary in there. I bit into a big stick and it was all powerful. And I don't know, like it had like some raw onion in there. And wait a minute, Chef Miguel has this thing making him famous and making him money, right? So we all got to know when it's cool to twist something up a little bit and when we got to stick by the sheet. So I feel you on that, Cameron. I do.
And it's okay to be aware of your weaknesses and make a note of them because, we as chefs, we have been around the block for a long time, 30, 40 years in this business. So we can spot when you might be needing help and assistance. Then we're watching and we're waiting until you come and get us and ask for help or a certain item. So we're going to go up to you and say, okay, where you at? What you need? Go ahead.
I was just going to say one of mine is I tend to joke around too much. Like it's almost like for me, I feel like it's almost like a defense mechanism. If I'm like truly lost or whatever, like not saying like, oh, I'm lost, but I know my place, I know where I'm at, I could probably figure it out. But if I like don't know anything about what's going on, I'll tend to make a lot of jokes.
Do you mean like under really a lot of time pressure, James, or more like just when you're unfamiliar and stuff?
When I'm like truly unfamiliar, like time pressure, every once in a while just to lighten the mood, like that, I'll do it then too. But like if I really don't know what's going on or like I'm truly unfamiliar with something, I tend to make a lot of jokes out of the situation as like a defense mechanism, as I said.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's good to be aware of your weaknesses, and be comfortable with constructive criticism because you're going to go through the next kitchen blocks. And trust me, guys, when you guys and I always keep on saying about regionals, it's so fast paced. There'll be you'll be exposed to a lot of different cuisines and a lot of different timings and a lot more menu to prepare. So it'll come out here. So just don't be afraid to dive in your weaknesses and make them your strengths. Okay.
Yeah, it can really test your organizational skills, right, Chef?
Right, it can, because sometimes we're too weak. We get flustered. We don't want to ask questions. We are harder on ourselves than anybody else is. We're our worst enemies. We're too judgmental, even our own food. Okay. So follow-up interview. It is always a good idea to have a follow-up interview. You might hear or see something that you missed in the first one. The best to have another team member present during this second interview. So I've always asked for either my sous chef, the restaurant manager, or my lead to be present with me when I'm conducting a second interview. Okay. Side note: if you are the one being interviewed, please always send a thank you afterwards. Always the next day send a thank you either by email or by a phone call. Make sure that they know your name. Always, before you leave the interview, ask for a business card. Okay, because a lot will not give you the business card. Okay, so if you do really like that place and you're hoping to be the number one on the list that they get hired, when it's all said and done, again, if you decide to shake hands, but if you don't, thank him very much. Hey, can I have your business card, by the way? I'm really, looking forward to speaking to you or talking to in the follow-up interview. Go home the next day, go ahead and write a nice thank you letter, open up your email and send them an email or phone call and say, hey, by the way, I want to thank you for spending the time with me. And that says a lot. That's being courteous. And that also for me is like, oh, yeah, I interviewed 5, but that one stood out a lot. That means
right.
the little ones they're higher on the food chain to be getting higher. Right, Sir Gary?
And Chef, you don't have to go on real long in that letter, or if you happen to, like if you call and leave a voicemail or something like that, it might be as simple as like, hey, this is Gary Ackerman. I really enjoyed our interview yesterday. Thanks for spending the time you have with me. Thanks for showing me what you did, and I found some things pretty exciting in there, and look forward to hearing back from you. I mean, I'd probably hold it pretty short and pretty clear. You don't want to ramble too long. It's the whole same thing that we were talking about as far as how many minutes is a chef going to give to reading a resume and so forth. Just be respectful of their time, but be positive and sound happy that you got in there for that interview, and be glad you did it. And that'll come through. They'll feel that.
Is that to include like the obvious saying thank you for your time after the actual initial interview?
Yes.
You should do. Okay, so you should do this either right after or within a day or two, right?
I said a good time is within a day. Let them go ahead and process the rest of the applicants, right? Because they're not going to have time to open up the email and see what you sent until the next day when they go home. They're going to sleep over it. They're going to stew over it. And they're going to come back refreshed. And the first thing they should see when they open up the email is your email, thanking for the time spent with you.
Right. Okay. Talk to 4 people today. Heard back from 1. Oh yeah, that guy. Thing, right? I mean, strike while the iron is hot. So after an interview this afternoon, maybe a follow-up email tomorrow morning, or write the thing late at night. Yep.
It's almost a thank you letter. Okay. What else? Job responsibilities. Each kitchen station has a different job responsibility and sometimes a different kind of pay depending on the job task at hand. The grill might pay more than the pantry because of the high dollar product being cooked and prepared, plus the knowledge and skill set needed to run that station. However, in kitchens that every cook needs to be trained and rotated throughout the different stations, building up to the more difficult and coveted positions of the grill master. Vice versa, the grill cook can also fill in for the pantry person as well too. Because in the industry, you got peaks and valleys. You got your busy seasons and your slow ones. When it's slow, you're going to run a skeleton crew because you're not generating as much profits. You're not as busy as you should be. So you want to make sure that the grill can handle saute. Or if the pantry goes to use the restroom, they got to step out for a minute. If an order comes in, you got to make sure that either one can make that order. Okay. Cross training is more for your benefit than not to cross train, because otherwise, I don't know how to make that order. Now the server is waiting for the food and the customer is waiting for a long time for the food to come out, and nobody's taking responsibility on the initiative to go ahead and crank the food out.
Chef, a lot of people in the old school kitchen, the first place they look to when it comes time to really finally choose the next chef, like if a sous chef leaves, I should say sous chef, not chef, the first person they're going to look to become the next sous and has a good possibility to become an executive sous is they're going to look to someone they call the roundsman or the chef tournant, Tournant, like starts off like the word tournament. The roundsman or chef tournant is the person that makes the rounds. So the example is if maybe you got pretty good skills in 3 or 4 stations, everybody holds down a station on their own day, but when they're off work, somebody's got to fill in for them. Small operations, sometimes that's the sous chef or the chef. But a lot of times a hotel will have a roundsman, and that just means this is a person trained up well, could step into any station. So you work maybe, the roundsman might work 1 week, 2 days grill, 2 days saute, 1 day lead line, and the next week, 2 days lead line, 2 days saute, 1 day grill, or something like that. A few weeks or months of that, comes time to replace a sous chef. Guess who's a very good candidate? That roundsman, the person that has been showing that flexibility, developing their chops on many different stations. Somebody gets sick, the chef can call that roundsman at 5 o'clock in the morning. Bang, the chef's in there an hour later.
Right.
Yeah.
And the roundsman can become very valuable. Okay. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. You should have it in your resume. You become a roundsman. Yeah, I'm gonna show you that with me right now. Okay. On the screen. What is it? Right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 from the bottom. What do you guys see?
Roundsman.
Roundsman, right?
Is a roundsman like a floater?
Like you make the rounds. Yeah, it's kind of like a float. So a floater sometimes means you're on the shift and you might be asked to do anything.
Yeah.
Particular shift. But a roundsman means you probably Tuesday night going to work this and Wednesday night going to work the same thing. Thursday night do something else. Like you hold down the whole station for the whole shift. That's your day.
Okay.
It's a whole different station. That's a roundsman.
A roundsman can also replace the each station cook when they're on vacation. So the grill cook goes on vacation for a week or 2 weeks. Guess what? The roundsman is going to fill that spot. If the pantry goes for vacation for 1 week, guess what? The roundsman is going to fill that spot. Whatever station needs to be filled and needs help, that roundsman is very well versed, trained in each station that they can step in and carrying the torch without missing a beat. Okay.
Hey chef.
Yes.
You got a resume about 3 feet long there.
I know.
You know how I finally had the real confidence you're really a great chef?
Yeah.
I saw you were a roundsman about 20 years ago. That's how I know.
Yeah, a roundsman, it comes in handy too, because a roundsman, if you have the knowledge and skills of baking and pastries, garde manger, and all those that goes with it, a roundsman has all those skills from how to make a sauce, how to break down a fish, how to cut a steak, how to make starches, how to cook veg, also how to make breads, how to make cakes, how to make royal icing.
Soups, utilize leftovers, make up specials, take advantage of cool stuff that the chef gets from the market.
When you become a roundsman, your next level should be a sous chef. So when you become an executive sous, you know how to run each station without being there, and you can train them accordingly. A roundsman is very, very beneficial. If I were you guys, if you guys get a chance to be a roundsman, I would say go for it.
That's some of the most fun stuff. Yeah.
You're exposed to a lot more than just your regular typical fanfare when you're in the restaurant. Yeah, right. Okay. So a roundsman, keep that in mind, okay, guys? You go back. And have you guys been a roundsman at all?
I was something like that at my last job.
Yeah, same. So, I mean, I didn't know what it was called, but it was similar, like Cam said.
Yeah, I did oyster bar. I did saute, grill, and I had to dress up, suit and tie, and I had to study the menu on my last job. Like, if a manager or something left, I had to suit up and go work front room.
I never had one like that before. That's cool. That's interesting.
Yeah, it was dope.
You get more skills. You get more knowledge without paying for it. They're paying you to work and then training you in front of the house. So that's an added skill that you have that maybe some other staff might not be able to have. So roundsman is very beneficial. Like I said, guys, if I was you, if I had the chance, definitely become a roundsman because it makes you more valuable. You understand a lot more food. Okay. Supervision. Each station is responsible for prep for the station. Mise en place. A lot of you guys go back in your resume and take a look at that word mise en place. It's three different words. I know I've seen it together. Mise en. So it's like M-I-S-E-E-N, separated, mise en place. Menu setup, organization, cleanliness. Yet at the end of the day, it is all one family in 4 walls in the kitchen. It's their home. I always tell my cooks, this 4 walls is your home. You treat it as such. There's no such thing as it's not my job. No, you're wearing the chef's coat. You should be able to know how to wash a dish, wash a pot, cook a sauce, cook a chicken, clean the grill, man the grill, vice versa. It's your home, okay? Meaning there shouldn't be any division of line cooks, sous chefs, or any other kitchen staff. Once a team member falls behind, not because of laziness, okay, keep that in mind, not because of laziness, coming in late, not fully set up, but how the menu might have been laid out or pending on the customer's selected items. It is expected for the other kitchen staff to jump in and assist to get their teammates out of the weeds. I'll give you an example. You're in foundations, okay? Now you're a team. Now you got to make this menu, okay? All of you guys come together. Maybe somebody grabs the hardest recipe, the more challenging recipe, and somebody grabs the easy recipe, right? The one that has the easy recipe, when you're done with it, go ahead and jump and help your teammates, okay? Make that team successful, because the worst thing is you can do is have one that is your weakest link, okay? Weakest link, meaning that they take the easiest job and they're maybe on the bathroom, taking a break, or outside polluting the air, or taking out the trash, or visiting other classmates at the tables and not paying attention, not being part of that team, okay? So the team, it makes it stronger. So again, help your team. If somebody comes in unprepared with no production sheet, not knowing what they're gonna do, that's a different story, because that's ultimately, that's the individual's independent grade. And in the kitchen, that's the individual's paycheck, okay? You don't wanna be helping that same line cook day in, day out, because they come in late, they spend 30 minutes fixing the hair in front of the mirror, they're not properly set up, they take a long time to prep, and when it gets busy, they crash and burn. Now they expect you to go ahead and get them out. The next he comes around, it's the same thing over again. You can't do that, okay? You gotta make sure that they understand that you can help them out within the weeks out of respect if they pull their own weight, because you cannot be making his or her paycheck and then still in your station, right?
Yeah.
Does it sound familiar in Foundation when you guys were in a team before and you guys were pulling together, and now it's what, 9:30 p.m. and your food is out on the table, right? And then maybe one teammate is nowhere to be found, or you know, it's you having a hard time putting the food out. Same process, same mentality. Okay. Definitions of 5 types of supervision. Close supervision indicates that the incumbent is assigned duties according to specific procedures. Work is checked frequently, and in addition, there may be formal training. Supervision indicates that the incumbent performs a variety of routine duties with established policies and procedures, or by referral to the supervisor's guidelines. General supervision indicates that the incumbent develops procedures for performance of a variety of duties or perform complex duties within established policy guidelines. So 5 types of supervision, 5 types, okay? Have you guys been exposed to any of this before? How are your bosses?
Has anybody ever worked in a situation where they supervise every little tiny thing, maybe because you're brand new and you need to be watched carefully, like your first day or 2?
Yeah.
Right.
The first day of management, I was, yeah.
Close supervision, that's it, right? Yeah. There's reasons to do that at times, but later, if you know quite a bit and you should have been well enough trained and enough experience by now, and you're still on close supervision, then either something's wrong with how you're performing, or they're not thinking right. Something's not right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Chef, we should be thinking about our break too. I tried to chat with you about, but the chat is not
okay.
taking the messages, but.
All right, guys, take a 10-minute break. We'll come back, go stretch a leg, go use the restroom, get a drink, and then let's finish up the next hour. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Sounds good.
8:16. No, yeah, about 8:16. We'll come back. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that chat there, Chef. I don't know.
I see it.
So sometimes you can see the chat?
Sometimes I see them. Okay.
Because sometimes it makes it very obvious that it's saving it. I can see that it clicked and it held it. And then sometimes I can type it in, but it won't take it.
Chef Gary, I was telling Chef Miguel that I went ahead and fixed the menu to where you could read it. I made the writing white and lightened up the backdrop a little bit, so it's clearly visible. And I can send you guys another copy if you'd like.
Yeah, do that. You got white writing. How does it show up on the lighter part of the background? Does it show up on everything?
It shows up on all of the different colors.
Awesome.
It shows up pretty well. So,
good.
And I was telling them there's going to be three different pages. So it would be like a little book if you were to actually look at it.
Sure.
Because of the amount of space that there is on that actual, I guess you could call it letter flyer head thing that the my poster wall gave me to use.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I'm gonna work more on it tonight, and I'll send you guys what I have when I get done with it.
Excellent. We got to look this stuff. We'll look this stuff over tomorrow. Be a lot easier to do. For me, it'll be a lot easier to do it without the context of a screen and a online activity and so forth. So yeah, send it.
Okay. All right, Chef.
Super cool. Thank you, James.
So on the menu, chef, if we're serving like burgers to temp and stuff like that, should we include the little warning on it, like that most menus have, the consuming of raw, uncooked poultry, meat, stuff like that? Is that the expense of the person eating it?
I would, because if somebody orders a burger rare, you cannot serve a burger rare, because the burger, unless you make them in your house, may contain E. coli if it's not cooked well enough. Even if you buy them pre-made or frozen, I would still add that disclaimer, because what if somebody gets sick, they're going to sue you from whatever you got. So I will go ahead and put that disclaimer on.
I wouldn't put it on the poultry, because you're not going to serve any rare poultry.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like I can give you that rare. I can give you that rare, cool center hamburger patty. You know, here's my notice saying I would be advised about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
How is it a 10-minute break at home? Seems so fast.
Goes pretty quick, doesn't it?
Man, don't it?
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Yeah, we're about there now.
Yeah.
As soon as this quarantine's done, I'm gonna order me some A5 Wagyu.
I'll go to Whataburger.
Yeah.
I missed that fast food. So, I mean, I probably was doing too much of it, but I want like one a week, you know? Maybe you can only just go to the store carefully and make your own fast food now. I don't know. I sure miss a hamburger and stuff like that. I miss my
some fast food places are still open. You can just like go. Yeah. They still have the drive-thru open.
Yeah, you can get a DoorDash. That's what I was saying.
Right. I see my neighbor doing it all the time. He lives on it. This one lady delivers to him all the time. I think her car knows the way over here and everything.
I know. I prefer to cook my own.
Yeah, I mostly do too. But sometimes I like a fast food meal. You know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want some Tex-Mex or some Mexican food that I didn't cook. I don't want it to taste like something in my house. It's like the restaurant.
Right. It was crazy. I went to the store today, made a run to get some dog food. And there's this couple, you know, with their full face mask and gloves in their hand, pushing a cart. And I happened to glance at the cart. What do I see? 5 packages of toilet paper. I'm like, are you serious? You serious? Really?
So I heard all over the news about it today. That stuff's pretty much like a just-in-time thing. They don't store it very much. It goes from the factories almost straight out to the store. They don't make a lot of money on it. So the only way they can make money is if they make tons of it. And so when just a few people kind of went crazy and started buying it up like there was going to be some kind of toilet paper disaster, the next thing you know, a bunch of people did the same thing and bang, shortage, right? Or like hoarding and a shortage, which didn't take much hoarding to make the shortage. And it throws everybody all out of whack. There's not really a problem, but everybody thinks there's a problem, which is what creates the problem. Mm-hmm.
All the face masks are gone from the shelves. All the gloves are gone. I'm like, really, guys? Come on.
You can't buy hand sanitizer. You can't buy alcohol.
Oh. I'm like, dude, if you would be washing your hands and not, you know, have those cross-contamination, we should not be in this spot where we are. You can't even find toilet paper at the store. And then you got to, you know, you can only buy one of this, one of that. Like, it's insane.
Just good habits, taking care and staying away from crowds and not being around people too much.
Right.
It's a huge difference, you know?
I don't know. I think using that much hand sanitizer, you know, I think would affect you. Because, I mean, you still have to have that good bacteria in your body. And that hand sanitizer kind of takes away from it. I think it would make you more susceptible to catching something.
Right.
Then I think it's funny. I see the parents pushing the carts with the kids in it. They got the mask and the kids are just there. I'm like,
the kids are spitting all over everything, touching their fingers, touching their mouth. Yeah. There should be one person in a family going to the grocery store. That's hard sometimes if you're a single parent. You got to take the kids with you, you know?
Yeah, true. Cat and dog, bird, goldfish, hamster, I don't know, whatever.
I'm hoping in a couple, 3 months we're starting to come out of it a little bit, but we just got to keep on being careful too.
Right. Make sure you wash your hands.
Some cities are flattening down that coronavirus curve a little bit, from what I heard.
Yeah, to flatten the curve, New York.
The worrisome thing is people are going to think, oh, we're all good, and they're going to go out and start it all over again. I'm willing to hang down and hang tight for a while.
Yep, that's what Hong Kong did. Now they're in the resurgence.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's go back to definitions of 5 types of supervision. I just went over 3. Close attention to the next couple of slides because I'm going to give you homework for the weekend. We're going to come back and we're going to touch bases on the different kinds of supervision. So direction indicates that incumbent establishes procedures for attaining specific goals and objectives in a broad area of work. Only the final results of work done are typically reviewed. Incumbent typically develops procedures within limits of established policy guidelines. General direction indicates that the incumbent receives guidance in terms of broad goals and overall objectives and is responsible for establishing the methods to attain them. Generally, the incumbent is in charge of an area of work and typically formulates policy for this area, but does not necessarily have final authority for approving policy. This means somebody can go ahead and write a job description, but they don't have the final authority to make it standard and seal the deal. That means they got to submit it and make sure it's approved, okay? So what personality types? What are personality types? Who is better suited for each position based on their personality? Understand the 4 personality types, okay? Each person is a unique combination of all 4 personality types. We tend to draw most from one type and the varying degrees of others, okay? The X personality, not like all my exes live in Texas, right? If a person is a complete mix of 2 personalities, types, the types are equal to in strength, such as type A and B. We're going to get into those in a minute. If they are equal, the person will be an AX and BX. If the person is considered in a very rare category where all 4 types are equal, then they are referred to as X personality. The X indicates a cross intersection 2 or more types. For people who are AX and BX, they may have a tendency to be like the one type in one situation, another type in yet another situation. Even when all four types are very close in strength, definitely may seem like a chameleon of personalities. I'm not talking about, be bipolar. In many cases, many instances, this can be beneficial for many jobs, especially when it's important that they be able to get along with almost everybody, such as consultative sales people. For example, the X types tends to change personality colors as needed based on who they are maybe be with. Although some unpredictable at times, this very combination can, and it's an important asset to be utilized fully. So here goes the A personality. Which one are you guys? Okay. So I'm going to ask you guys if you guys are the A personality. The A personality likes to be in charge and in control of their environment and their lives. They're normally not very detail oriented, choosing to delegate details to others. They're usually very goal oriented and practical in other solutions. However, arriving at their solutions and goals will entail a no-nonsense bottom line approach. A personalities don't like a lot of restraints or restrictions placed on them, preferring to instead work independently and set their own schedules. Since they often tend to be a workaholic, it is not unusual to see them put whatever time and effort it takes to accomplish their goal. They may seem impatient at times, especially if they believe something is spending too much time. Going over the details with them or impeding them the successful completion of whatever goal or project they're focusing at the moment. So who's here's A personality?
No A personalities?
None?
How you guys gonna grow up to be chefs?
I can't say I'm a 100% A personality, but I think it comes and goes.
I agree. I'm A once in a while, but certainly not always.
Case by case basis, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Because when you're the sous chef, the executive chef, or the owner, you got to be the A personality. You got to be the person in charge.
Yes.
Because you're under pressure to produce. You're under pressure to generate those sales and revenue. So you have to be in charge and in control. Because what happens if you're not? Rocco the Spiritu, right?
Right. Right. Yep.
Yep.
No, when you're in charge, you don't have the luxury of not being A. You kind of need to be that. There's different ways to get it done, but a lot of people believe that the A personality is very helpful in that situation.
And sometimes, we may not be the A personality, but when you're in that position, you got to switch roles. I always say that the kitchen is like a musical or a theater show. When the curtain goes up, you got to perform no matter what. So you got to be the A personality when you're in that spot. You got to be in control. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to carry on. Okay. So type A, don't be surprised to see this personality type in a supervisory position or management. Having an entrepreneur streak, they may be a business owner or strive to own their own business someday. The A personality is not easily discouraged and will normally exude confidence. Right? Gordon Ramsay, A personality, right? Okay. The A personality, if the job is routine or repetitive day by day, they will get bored easily and not enjoy the work. They will want it to appear they are tough in these situations, but internally they may be miserable if the job is too routine. A personality will do whatever is necessary to prevent themselves from falling into the pattern or routine and seek freedom and independence instead. They will also be very dissatisfied if they believe someone is trying to take advantage of them or hold them back. The A personality may not be a good at recognizing coworkers' feelings and needs, not because they don't care, but because they are focused on achieving their goals. If you're looking for someone who works well under pressure and seems to excel in high stress situations, A personality is probably what you're looking for. Okay, A personality. B is very outgoing, energetic, fast-paced individual who likes to be around people and enjoys being the center of attention. They're good relationship builders, and most people like them right away. The driving need is for approval, so they try and like everyone in hopes everybody will in turn reciprocate and like them too. Compliments, acknowledgement, and their achievements, word of admiration, and even applause from groups will be the most important things you can do for them. Who's B personality? Anybody?
That's me on a very uncomfortable level.
I feel targeted.
You say that's you on an uncomfortable level?
Yeah, that's too much. That's too much. I can't look at that anymore.
I think it's me a little bit. Like parts of me, like when I was a kid, I always loved to get approval, like playing music and stuff.
Right.
You know? But then life happens, and you find out ways to go through life and everything. But it's like it's still back there a little bit, you know.
Yeah. Well, you know, sometimes we like to be acknowledged for our work, and you know, a pat in the back, it feels good, man. Somebody it feels great. B personality loves to talk about themselves, and some may view them as self-centered, but the real motivation is to be liked. An extreme example was the character played by Bette Miller in the movie Beaches, when she invited an old friend up to see her lavish apartment and told her friend about her own success. Then she said to the friend, "Enough about me, let's talk about you. So what do you think of me?" What do you guys think about that quote?
She couldn't get away from talking about herself for 1 second.
Nope. Always went back, right? B personality, the biggest fear is being humiliated in public, since that might make people disapprove of them, and the thought of that will be devastating. The B personality does not want to appear unattractive or unsuccessful either, so they will make sure their appearance is impeccable and will always give the impression of being very successful at whatever they do, whether they are or not. Okay. And I got a little surprise for you guys for your homework over the weekend. B personality, some of the strengths you can count on for B personality are their enthusiasm, outgoing behavior, friendliness towards others, and their ability to persuade even the most skeptical people. They tend to be dreamers and can often turn those dreams into very practical ideas in the workplace. B personalities are normally spontaneous and use their quick wit and humor to make people like them. They're too good about hiding their own feelings. And so they're hurt or disappointed, you'll probably be able to read in their mannerism and overall disposition. Okay. Again, some of the natural weaknesses that are associated with B personalities include being impatient, having relatively short attention span, and not being very detail-oriented. In business, B personalities may tend to socialize at work and not spend as much time doing the work because they strive for social interaction. Although this is their natural tendency, many have learned to control themselves and keep their social nature in perspective. Okay. How many times you're in your classroom, you have one that is maybe chatting away with a pastry kitchen, maybe in the kitchen, maybe not in themselves. They want to be out, you know, floating around, right? That may be B personality. The C personality is very detail-oriented individual that likes to be involved in things that are controlled and stable. They're interested in accuracy, rationality, and logic. People who can't seem to control their emotions will bother them because they believe being emotional makes them objectively difficult or perhaps impossible. They will also dislike being around people who are full of hype. Since they desire facts, accuracy, and logic, other people's emotions may not be a priority for them, as they tend to strive for the facts, let the chips fall where they may. So who falls into this category? Come on, don't be afraid, speak up.
Oh, hi.
Again, I do a little bit, but I think I've fallen into every one of them depending on the situation.
That's like me too. I like, yeah.
Yeah, that's you, Cameron.
I think I'm a type C.
You're a type C?
Who that?
Aubrey.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm controlling. So yeah.
So
I like everything to be right.
And when I asked you earlier about your roommate, you're like, that's it. That's on him. That's not on me. So you're definitely this personality, because the C personality is like in the kitchen, you know, you leave that drama outside the door. You're there for business. In the chef, it's all about, they don't want to see you. They don't want to hear your sob story. They got to perform their business, right? That's a C personality.
And I worked with a chef like that before. That's what got me like this. He was so mean. Like, oh my gosh, he was so mean. Mean and ugly. So I took that into consideration. It was like, I'm finna listen to him. He was just so mean. He was like, oh, that drama out the window. When he's like, his favorite thing, he's like, you can't sell me excuses, so get to it. That's what he used to be like.
Do you think he was mean enough that in some ways he could maybe lose some good people or lose the good faith of some good people? Just by
Oh
too hard
yeah,
to deal with?
yeah. Before I worked there, somebody was trying to fight him on the line.
Where's the military people?
Yep.
Right?
Right here.
Right? Your boot
A
camp.
little bit, but I mean, as I said, it depends on the situation. What personality, I guess you could say, you know?
You know, I always go back to this type, and I always go back and refer to the movie Full Metal Jacket when the drill sergeant is you know, hammering that the one soldier, right?
Private Pile.
Right there. Okay. So C personality tends to be quite controlling, both of themselves and others. They don't like things to get out of hand and maybe not appear overly expressive at times because they really want themselves to display a lot of emotion. They are very outcome driven and will be sticklers for following procedures and protocols to get the job done. They are careful, resourceful, and above all else, excellent thinkers who will look at all aspects of an issue before taking stand. Once they take a stand on an issue, they will have the facts to back it up. So anyone who challenges them better be prepared. Again, think of a military, right? That's what comes to mind. They like their jobs to be clearly defined and want to know exactly what is expected of them. Know those facts, they will be able to prioritize their task and see them through completion. When in decision-making roles, they are cautious, logical, and require many details and facts and before they make a decision. People who try to sell them something by trying to get them to emotionally involved usually fail to get them to buy because C personality will consider them to be hype artists and wonder what. Anyway, so I lost it. Anyways, in more public roles, C personality will strive for originality, cleverness, and uniqueness in whatever they happen to be doing. Because of their detail orientation, they are meticulous and prepared with all the details so nothing is left for anyone to disgrace with. Many accountants, lawyers, for example, are C personalities. They're excellent for any job that requires creative thinking based on patience, facts, and accuracy. Okay. The D personality. Okay, let's see who falls into this category. Takes a slower, easy pace towards their job and life in general. They seek security, longevity on the job, and they're very happy doing repetitive tasks day in, day out, as their repetition allows them to become very skilled in what they do. They won't like it. However, if the rules change a lot, that is contrary to their desire to minimize change and stick with what they know works. One extreme example we've seen and heard of the bookkeepers who refuse to use computers because they can count on the old way and don't want to change the D. Don't want to change. The D will resist change out of concern. Even though the current may be unpleasant, the unknown may be more unpleasant. So who do you guys think? You guys are D personality. Anybody?
That's not me at all.
I do that when I'm at work because I like to make sure I take it slow and get the job done right, and then I pay very close attention to it. And I like doing things in order and not have difference every single day.
Yeah, a lot of people that are like structure, they can't perform freestyle. Some of you guys are getting used to the recipes in the portal. They're getting used to the lecture. They're getting used to guidance. And when you will go to from the table, there'll be some days that you're going to have a lot of Mr. Baskets. You'll be like, are not going to be able to perform because you like that structure, you like that guidance. So some of you guys might be D personality. They seek the respect, sincere admiration, and acceptance of others. D personality will willingly work hard to please the people they work for as long as they feel appreciated and receive plenty of reassurance that they are needed. Thus providing a sense of security that they need. They often think the A personality type is crazy for taking so many risks and not showing much concern for security and longevity. Okay. D personalities are usually very organized, and being around a messy environment or disorganization will bother them. I'm kind of a D personality because I don't like to work in chaos. They are also good at playing a very supportive role with others and are normally very caring, thoughtful, and compassionate. They're very patient, good listeners, and will preserve when all others have given up. They especially like working in a group or as a team and will be a stabilizing force within that group or team. Although they may not be as fast as others, they're accurate and thorough. They're willing to keep their feelings to themselves and are reluctant to express themselves, even if a more assertive type seems to be taking advantage of them. They will probably choose to go along or get along. Sometimes we think about them being complacent, low maintenance. They just do the job and get it done and get out. And you give them a little bit of something, they're just doing it and keep on going, right? To attract a D-type personality, be sure to talk about the company benefit package and the long-term growth. Again, keyword, long-term growth. Potential with the company having a secure, stable environment will be very important to the D personality, okay? So D personality is looking for job security, looking for longevity, okay?
I'll make a comment here.
Go ahead.
There's all this great stuff about the different types of personalities, and a lot of people, maybe if they feel like me, they might see themselves in 4 different personality groups. Like that's all. What I'm saying? Like you might see yourself, well, I'm A in some ways and I'm D in some ways and so forth, and that's all fine. But I really never thought about the idea of bringing in a candidate and finally decided I think this would be the right candidate because they have the D personality, because they have the B personality. And then when you go back to make an offer to them, you tailor your offer, or the way you speak about your offer and the way you speak about your organization, you tailor that according to the type of person you think you perceived in the interviews. Wow, that's something you could take from this set of slides here. I don't doubt some people are organized enough to think that way and act upon those personality types. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying I bet you some hiring bosses will employ ideas like that when they're looking for matching somebody to a job and making the job sound good to the person they want for the job.
So think about Rocco the Spirit. What kind of personality was he?
I think it was B.
I would say a hardcore B. A hardcore B.
Hardcore B?
Hardcore.
In a way, he was a D as well, just because he was so laid back and not really carrying as much. So I guess he has a good amount of qualities as the D, and just letting things kind of cruise by.
Yeah, he was. What about Daniel for the Barbecue sauce barbecue joint? From
he was just oblivious. Like, I mean,
he was a type O.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, when it came to his lumberyard, I would say he was a type D. But when it came to the restaurant, yeah, I don't really know, because he did have passion for his lumberyard. Because I guess.
He seemed to have passion for the restaurant too until he got it. Like the whole thing could give him passion every time he thought about it, but when he finally got in there, passion kind of went away, didn't it?
Bit off a little more than he could chew.
Yeah, and I think it caused him to get back on one foot and think, oh, okay, now what did I do? Right?
So I'm going to put myself on the spot here, guys. This is day 5, right? And day 1, even though we had the technical difficulties, we talk about spreadsheets, correct? I'm going to ask you guys to think about what we have done the last 4 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, right? Spreadsheets, an employee manual, what to do, what not to do, okay? What kind of personality type you think I am in the kitchen when I'm not teaching, but in the industry? Where do I fall in this category?
You're asking your students to tell you their best guess about your kind of personality when you're not teaching or not in the kitchen?
Correct.
Like right now, or is that our homework?
No, not now. So think about what have we gone through since Monday? What have I given you guys since Monday? Like the spreadsheets, the guidelines, the prep list, all these items that we talked about that I produced for you guys, not on the portal, that I share with you guys from my personal experience being an executive chef. What kind of personality you think I fall in, which category?
See,
I could say something, but I'm not going to say a word until I hear from like 6 students.
I would say that you're a bit of a B and an A at the same time. Because
I'm gonna say
okay.
C.
I think C also.
Okay.
I really can't form an opinion. I've never cooked with you.
But
Like you can say you can say something, but until like we actually like work together, can't really form a solid opinion.
Based on what have you guys have seen so far, the items that I produced for you guys, the
I think
spreadsheets.
I think the big one to take away from type C that I was leaning towards was detail orientation and wanting to follow rules to the T.
I second that.
With the uniform regulation, the how everything looked, where things were laid out in wherever you were catering or having your events or whatever, everything was had to be in the right place.
Okay. Listen, I don't think this has to be the end of this yet. I think somebody else might still throw in after me, but I want to know, does nobody see a type A?
Ms. Mallard, what do you think?
I think
I had said type A and B.
And I can tell you guys why I say it, but I just want to know if anybody else sees it.
Yeah.
And why?
I just think everything has to be done in like a certain time frame. Like there's expectations.
I could argue that in the kind of big volume banquet and reception, production, and hotel business and so forth that Chef Miguel's been in all these years, if you didn't have some of that deadline-oriented, hit that time frame, hit that time frame, hell or high water, I don't think you'd survive very well in there. I think you have to have some of that push and some of that press, some of that urgency. Also, I think that Chef Miguel, in addition to all that production work, developing people, hiring people, organizing big kitchens and all those kinds of things, on top of all that, he has all this material that he brought with him from those years, which means that when even though he was getting his work done, getting his deadlines and all this stuff, he still had the energy to bring out some of the documentation from that. So it makes me think, Chef, that you go above and beyond what would have to be done. Like, okay, you got the banquets out, you got the receptions out, you got the dining room served for the evening and the week, and you got the schedule and all, and somehow you still were able to build a base of records that you could use in the future, like namely right now. So I say that maybe there's other stuff in there too, but I'm thinking there's some type A in there for those kinds of reasons.
Okay. Ms. Mallard, what do you think? Still with us? Mallory?
I think I agree with what Chef Gary said. I also think that you are very organized with all the spreadsheets. I enjoy the spreadsheets because it keeps it laid out to where you can see stuff clearly. I think, yeah, you might be a little bit of part B too, or type B, but I think as a chef in general, we all are kind of fast paced and have that mentality.
Ms. Hannah, what do you think? What are your thoughts so far from what you have seen?
So far, I would definitely say that you're definitely type A. I would personally just think you're a leader, and yeah, just overall, just kind of like a lead, just like a leader and just kind of runs everything. And like even from like your past experiences in like other kitchens, because like I saw like you were an executive chef at a few different kitchens, and you're at least a sous chef at like a couple more restaurants, or hotels. So obviously, I just see you more as a personality type A because of that.
Okay. Caitlin, any thoughts?
I would say a mixture of A and C as well, especially because after looking back on your spreadsheets and everything, not necessarily repetitiveness, but there were a lot of similarities in there. You know, so I would think that also going into the kitchen, you would keep the same mindset of like consistency is key and be really organized with that as well.
Okay, and I'm going to tell you why, guys. You know, we're doing this exercise at the end, but I want to get everybody's feedback. Mr. Daniel Rodriguez, any thoughts? What do you think? Daniel?
Daniel Rodriguez.
Maybe you stepped out. All right, so any thought, James?
It probably will help if I turn my mic on, huh?
Oh, yeah. It's all right.
Golly. Well, it's now I don't forgot the question.
What kind of personality? What kind of personality do you think I fit on this category? From what you seen so far, from Monday all the way down to today, the stuff that that was produced for you guys, how from the spreadsheet, the schedule, the pictures that you saw, the uniform, the corporate mentality. What kind of personality you think I fit on this category?
I mean, I stated C earlier. I can go with A and C, AC.
Okay.
You know, being very detail oriented, having high expectations, having to want to meet deadlines and, making sure everything's spot on. I mean, I'm kind of like that in a perfectionist way, kind of in the kitchen. I mean, I like things. I have a vision and I want it to be on the plate exact, and I want it to be displayed the way I want it to be displayed, because that's how I see it, as being perfected. And that's how I want it done. And
so the reason that we usually do a personality test at work, but I mean at school, but here, putting myself out like a lamb and let you guys decide or think about what kind of personality I fit on this category since day one, from what you have seen and what you guys have received from either me or Chef Gary. But in this case, putting myself on the line. So it is okay to be A, B, or C. In this case, what do you guys have seen, from having experience opening up a brand new hotel from the grounds up, building a team from scratch? The mentality that I get in this profession, it goes back to what I was trained and trained upon. Before I even knew about Escoffier, before I even knew anything about the terminology and anything about this field, the chef that I used to work for for 7 years in the beginning, he was a French chef that was trained in France, and he was old school. He brought that mentality to the uniform, the respect for the profession, always be on time, everything that has to do with it. So because he was again trained in France, so he knew the Escoffier Kitchen Brigade. And what did Escoffier brought to the industry? The military brigade, because he was ex-military, correct? Right, Mr. James?
Yes, sir. He was.
He was ex-military. So my first executive chef was from France. The new the kitchen brigade system back in the mid-80s, and brought it with him, and that's what I was trained with. So along the way, I adapted, evolved, and my mentality was still the same. Sometimes you have to go into work as business owners, chefs, with a mentality of maybe the A, B, or C, and sometimes you have no time to sit down and hear a sob story, but you have to be compassionate with your staff, because you as the chefs have to be almost like a psychologist or a counselor, because everybody is different in your team of line cooks. Whether you have 5, 10, or 15, each one of them is different. Each one of them faces a different challenge in the personal life. So when they come into work, they all got to work as a team. You, as in school, come in every day in the kitchen to produce what's on the menu, aside from whatever's going on in real lives, in your lives. So the point is, it's okay to be A, B, or C, as long as you keep focus on what's the vision ahead and you keep that team going. An executive chef is like a captain, like a coach of a football team, and he's got to keep his staff motivated It's got to keep them in balance, got to give them structure, and it's also got to give them feedback. And it's got to let them know where they stand and the expectations. Because if you don't, what happened with, again, I'll go back to the videos, Rocco and then Daniel from the Bama. Rocco was a different personality. He was never there. He didn't care. He was all about smooshing, about making the name for himself. The guy in Robert Irvine, he had no clue, so he was never there. So if they were this personality, this kind of the similar that maybe that I am, maybe they would have been in a different spot in their restaurants when they opened up. Maybe they would have been in a different financial aspect as they conducted their restaurant business. So it's okay to be A, B, C, or D. You don't have to be one type. I mean, we're born different personalities, but when you're in the industry, you got to put on the chef's coats, be the thick skin, and then go and then train and lead your team.
That's really right, Chef. It's important that you mentioned that you got to be able to work with a lot of different kinds of personalities. You cannot expect all your people to be the same person, to have all exactly the personality traits you want, but you do have to work with what they are, who they are, and the kinds of things that they deal with in order to help them all be successful. Doesn't mean you can take care of all their problems. That's not it at all. But you know, if you're hoping for a kitchen crew where everybody's just exactly the same, like some robot soldiers or something like that, it's not going to happen. So you need that people skill. A great old cook that I worked with many years ago had a lot of admiration for one of his old bosses, and he said that guy knows what makes every person tick. He said it never went on very many days, a new person in that kitchen without that chef starting to gain a good understanding about who they were, how they were, and why, and things like that. And he said that place ran so smooth because he could get people to work with them, you know? So that's really cool. And the other thing, Chef, you're right about, you might be any one of those type of personalities, or more likely a combination of them. Just be aware of who you are. Be aware of what kind of person you are. Like I got certain things that I know are very strong personality aspects that help me in my job. I got other things that I consider to be almost humans, and if I'm aware of them, I can control them. If I cannot be aware of them, I won't make myself a better cook. I won't make myself a better leader.
Can we have Cam turn and mute his mic? There's a lot of feedback coming from it.
Oh, my fault.
Thank you.
Thank you, James.
So all of you guys have gone on through foundations. Is that correct? Only foundations so far?
That's right.
Yes.
Minus Daniel Rodriguez, right? Daniel, everybody has gone through foundations except you. You're a little more advanced in the courses they are, right?
I already done foundation.
Yeah, so you done 201 already?
201 with Gary.
Regionals?
No, yeah. The only thing I have left now is regionals and farm to table.
Okay. So you have gone through several instructors, correct?
Not too many.
Just two.
Oh, two. Chef Gary, did you teach them 201 or was there someone else?
Daniel, didn't I have your group for 2 blocks? Sorry. Daniel, did
me for 201. Yeah.
Okay. So think about the different instructors you have had so far, either in the kitchen, even if you have Chef Gary times 2, but think about your different instructors. Now, each one of us have a different personality, correct?
Right.
So it's easy not to understand each one of them as you go to the different kitchens. Like, maybe Chef Gary is A, maybe I'm B, maybe Chef Raff is C. You are learning from each one of us as you go, and you're getting so much knowledge, not just from what we have to bring to the table, but also from the personality traits. So when you guys go out in the field, hopefully you can compile all these personalities within yourself and be a better leader, better chef in the field, so you can corral and rally your team and make it more successful. So learn as you go from each course, each class, even your Gen Ed instructors. Take a look at them, okay? Don't just go in there with a mentality, oh, I'm just a student, I'm here to see what they got, but also size them up as far as the personality. How do they behave? How they teach you, how they speak, how they stand, what is expected from you guys, how they deliver, all those things, either good or bad, you learn from them so you can apply that and be your own individual when you go out there and command a team of maybe 10 to 15 cooks and then some, so you can be a better leader.
That's one of the first things I do. I, kind of get an assessment of the person, what type of personality they are. That way I kind of know.
I think it's a great habit as a cook and a chef. I think it's a great habit. Learn a lot.
When Chef Gary and I started.
So go ahead, Chef. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I started saying, anybody have like a person in their life, like when they were younger, and then there's an older person, maybe an uncle or a dad or a grandma or something, and there's something about them drove you crazy and you thought they were crazy and what's wrong with this person and can't wait to get out of here when I grow up. And then later you grew up to realize that a lot of times you see that you're just like that in the same way that in terms of the same things that made you crazy about them, you can see yourself doing that to other people.
Most definitely. That's right now.
I had a drill sergeant for a dad and the drill sergeant for the Marines and the drill sergeant for an uncle in the Army.
Yeah.
And
I had a drill sergeant for an uncle.
I mean, yeah, it was very detailed growing up, as far as making the bed, and it was always everything had to be in its own place. I mean, nothing had to be out of place.
Nothing on the floor, no nothing. If it's on the floor, it's trash, and he throwing it away.
Now I realize when my dad used to yell at me when I was too loud while he's talking on the phone.
Yeah.
So think about all these personality traits as either as you're growing up, being a teenager, an adult, and in this profession, even in school, the different instructors that you go through. Think about their personalities, what they bring to the table and how you're gonna learn from that and apply. Because trust me, guys, one of these days you will be in the executive chef's position. You will be in the food and beverage. You'll be in the GM's position. So you're gonna have to, change yourself into this personality and lead that team. Okay, like 2-1, Daniel, you've been to 2-1, right? With Chef Gary, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
What was your final project? Your final culmination in 2-1?
We had the breakfast buffet.
The breakfast buffet, right? So for you guys that haven't been there yet, that's hopefully going to be your next kitchen block. Your final project, your culmination is to create a menu, prep it, and execute a whole brunch buffet on your last day of 2-1. Now, the chef's role and responsibility is to teach you guys, show you guys, and mentor each day through the recipes that you create to build the momentum until the last day. Now, that chef instructor is going to be a combination of these personalities because he's going to have to guide you through it, show you the technique, show you the recipes for you guys to be successful. In the last couple of days, one of the favorite quotes from Chef Gary said, he's Jabba the Hutt. He's in the kitchen letting you guys do your own thing. So he's taking a step back, maybe the deep personality, lay back, and then you guys carry on. Be creative with what you do. Still be there for support. But he's changing his personalities, hands off, and now you guys run and take the show with you.
That's what I like.
Right, Mr. Daniel?
That's what I liked. I like to, just point us in a direction, and then it was up to us to get there. And I like to do that. Kind of get to be able to show my creativity.
That's a real challenge for a boss too. That's not easy for me to do. I say that, I don't really succeed at it. I tend to worry a little bit too much and try to fiddle and make sure, and in a way, it could be a good lesson if I let for some groups, it could be a good lesson if you really do sit on your butt and they really do crash. It's like, I've been telling you this for 2 weeks, but it could be a hard thing to do. And it's one of the great challenges as a supervisor is to finally let your people do what they now know how to do. If you taught them well, if you gave them practice, if you showed them where they were going wrong when they were going wrong, and they got some more practice and they're getting there at some point, the best thing you can do is let them do it, even with the hard stuff and the stuff they won't quite get right or get their butt whipped, as we say, and all that, right? A great challenge as a boss is to finally let your people do it.
So you guys in Foundations, did you guys get a chance to go to a barbecue buffet from a regional class when you guys were in the kitchen, in the grounds?
I'm sure we did.
Yes, definitely did.
Who was the barbecue buffet instructor on that time? Huh?
I think it was you.
Okay.
It was either you or
Pablo.
Yeah, I was gonna say Chef Pablo.
Okay. Now I'm trying to get you guys to think about the future, what's coming up ahead, and talk about the different personalities. We just talked about Chef Gary, myself too. So when you guys went through the barbecue buffet, it's the same concept as the next kitchen block 2-1. The only difference is the barbecue buffet, you only have 1 day to prep. The 201 Color Yards buffet, you have about maybe a week or so to prep, but during the whole 6 weeks, you do a couple of recipes here and there, and you save them until your last day. Now, same concept. When you guys go into the kitchen and see the barbecue buffet, whatever that instructor was, if it was me or someone else, take a look at what the students produce. Okay, how well they work. Size the whole entire kitchen. When you walk in for the buffet, was it clean? Was the food appealing? Was it organized? The students were behind the line with gloves serving you. Was the menu printed? Was everybody having fun? Was everybody not stressed? So all those take in consideration, because that will tell you the personality behind the instructor who carried that team, that class, to produce and execute the barbecue buffet. Okay, that will tell you a lot. So whenever you guys go into another buffet next in the future, think about who is the instructor and how the barbecue buffet was executed, the barbecue brunch buffet, and think about what kind of personality that instructor was to be able to carry that buffet. Because one of these days, the biggest lesson is you guys are going to be in those shoes in the future, and you might have to do a Thanksgiving, Mother's Day, or Easter brunch or barbecue buffet, just like the picture that I showed you guys, the Easter and Mother's Day brunch that I have on the screen. You're going to have to lead that team. You're going to have to be a combination of these personalities to be able to execute that awesome brunch, because the bottom line number is keep the staff happy, the food quality, the customers back, and make profit for the owners or the GM. Because if you don't have all those key ingredients, you might be able to have a job. You can make some awesome food. You can generate those dollars, have the boss happy, but you can be an a-hole to your staff, and they might hate you. You're going to have a high turnover. So it's okay to be a combination of all those personalities. Okay.
If you are giving that boss great numbers and it's rocking along good and the numbers are getting better and the sales is strong and the costs are low and all that, but that goes about 5 or 6 weeks and you start losing people and the place starts to come unglued because you lost your great people and stuff, your boss is going to have a big problem with that. I mean, they're making a mistake if it's going on and they're not aware. They're making a huge mistake if it comes to a catastrophe like that before they find out about it. But good numbers and all that stuff is only part of the game. You got to be able to sustain that thing for the long term and keep good people and develop them.
You know, guys, there's a lot to learn in school when you guys go back on the grounds. When we go back, it's not just about going to your regular class, sitting there and then listening to the lecture and play with your phone, checking out Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat while we're doing the lecture. There's a lot to soak up from the time you walk in. Check your surroundings, check your six. Who is coming in behind you? Who's in front of you? How well they're uniform? Are they well dressed? Are they prepared? When you guys go in the kitchen, is the kitchen clean? Is the kitchen organized? Did the chef deliver the proper lecture? Do you have enough recipes? Do you have enough guidance? Do you have enough time allotted? Is it not? Is the demos done? What's the chef's personality? Do they care? Do they push you guys? Do they work with you side by side to make sure the recipe's done? There's a lot more than just going in there and cook this recipe and eat it and go home. So next time you guys are in the kitchen, think about what we're talking about and really get your blinders off and see your peripheral vision and soak everything up and ask questions. Because one of the biggest words of wisdom that I tell everybody, there are about 13 or 14 instructors, chef instructors on campus. Just because you're my student doesn't mean that you cannot go ask a second opinion to another chef. I invite chefs to come and taste the food and critique the food of my students. Chef has been invited to my class. And Gary, hey, Sherry, come in and try the food. Let me know what you think. So we're trying to give you guys as much knowledge for you guys to learn from not only for our personality, our taste, our experience, so you guys can get more for what you guys are there for.
Yeah. I'd love to have a great teacher teaching me but I'd rather have 5, 6 good, strong teachers while I'm in school, plus a few more, even if they're not my teachers formally. I still want to get some of what they got from them as well. And I think that's a great formula for finding jobs too. You want to work where you're surrounded by people that can tell you something and can show you something, and who will speak honestly about stuff with you. You know, like if you're a terrible cook and you got someone say, "Oh, that's great, dude." Well, that's not the thing, right?
But think about Hessel Blumenthal on his fantastic voyage or his fantastic breakfast. What kind of personality do you think he is?
I would say that he's a C, because he wants to be in control of the stuff, and it's not necessarily his way or the highway, but he likes to have control of all of the little fine details and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had to be very detail oriented in order to execute everything that he was trying to do.
Even when it didn't happen, he was getting frustrated, right? When he couldn't find the way to have the big cereal or the egg, right?
You'll get some cool idea like that too. Maybe it's not in the molecular world, but you'll get some great idea that's like, well, you know, I have this technique and that technique, and I have this cool idea I want to do, and maybe it's a little bit unusual. It's not something that's been done before, but you still believe in it. And you might go around and around and around and fail 15 different ways before you finally figure it out and get it good, you know? That's part of it.
In my kitchens, when I used to run them, whether they were big or not, fine dining or not, I would always look for the C personality in the grill to man my steaks.
Look for the what, chef?
C personality. And I had great success. I had one grill cook who took it very personal when somebody would send a steak back that was not according to cooked properly. Because again, they were very detailed as in controlling of their environment. And that's what you need. Somebody in certain stations, like maybe the pantry needs to be D, maybe the satay needs to be C. But for me, the grill cook, I had to have someone that was C, or a combination of maybe another one, to be able to crank those steaks. Because again, a lot of responsibilities were on his or her shoulders to man that station. Remember, I was telling you guys about the story that had that one intern from the Philippines that was about 3 foot nothing, real small, maybe weighed about 70 pounds, fearless, no skills, pantry all the way out to grill. She became a C personality by the time she was manning the grill.
Chef, I could personally see myself being a C personality when I was on an extremely busy pasta station.
Mm-hmm.
And on a saute station also, just because there was so much beautiful detail in there, and I would do anything not to give up the details that I thought were important. Like a lot of people are just like, get in the skillet, get it turned over, get it hot, get it gone. But I couldn't do that. I would work like 3 times as hard, just because that's how much kind of activity and attention it took to keep it coming out nice without burning things and keep up the speed that the lead cooks needed it. So in those days, I mean, so we're probably a different personality depending upon what we have to come to do in life, right? In those days, for me, I could definitely see being a C. I wanted those details, and they really mattered to me, and I care almost whatever I had to do, and I didn't want anybody else preventing that. I want to be part of a good team, but man, I wanted that stuff to look nice. Because I was under the influence of people that I saw them, they showed me and they taught me, and what I saw them doing was just, you know, like some people, a steak catches their eye a certain way, and they see beauty in there. For me, it was the noodles and the herbs and the shrimp and the, you know, this and that. So it just gets you so revved up. You're going to do what you got to do to get it as good as you believe it should be. And that, I think, is right where, when you're doing that, you wake up one day and say, oh, I'm a chef now. And not because I'm necessarily the chef yet, but you wake up one day and realize you have that thing going inside you that drives you like that. And once you got that much passion, you can start to think of yourself as a chef.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and jump in and piggyback on what Chef Gary said, okay? For you guys that are in this class, and just so I'm going to disclose this information to you, all of you guys. Chef Gary has taken a class before with me. He's been one of my students in the past. And that Remember Chef Gary?
That's right. When I was finishing my degree, I was in your class.
Chef Gary and Chef
Hey,
Tan.
Chef, I'm still pissed off about a couple things.
I know I should have given you a better grade, but you will not finish it one day. Chef Gary was in my class as a student. Now picture a chef instructor being in another chef instructor's class as a student. Okay. Now everything that he said is right on tip, because me as an instructor and him as a student, sitting in class, going to the lecture, he was always in time with his production sheet because he knew better. But that is right his alley. I can go back and go and talk about one day that we had a tiramisu. He was so in control of that dish that he made it happen with 1.5 days. It usually takes about 3 days to make. So definitely Chef Gary is a C personality, guys. And just to make you guys know, we instructors, sometimes we do take courses and become students ourselves, rubbing elbows with you guys. It benefits you guys because you guys get to learn and work with us side by side. Another benefit, okay? So I have a homework assignment for you guys to do over the weekend, okay? Since we didn't give you the handout, the paperwork. So for Monday, okay, management styles. Now you saw Rocco the Spiritu, you saw Daniel, you saw Robert Irvine, correct? And we just talked about the different personalities, Chef Gary and I, myself, and then the instructors are on campus. Think about the different management styles: laissez-faire, authoritarian, bureaucratic, and democratic. Okay. Does anybody know the difference of all those three? I mean, all those four.
No.
What's
I know a couple.
Laissez-faire?
Yeah, I know
It
a
means
couple too.
you're allowed, or basically do whatever you want, or like free will, I guess.
Like you're more laid back.
Laissez-faire.
Maybe you still have expectations. Hey, I want you guys to be good. I want you to be clean. I want you to work nice together and all that. But you're not in there like grabbing every little thing and saying, you got to do like this exactly right now. Right? You kind of like letting people have a little more wiggle room, right, guys? Let them have a little bit of their own decision power.
Laissez-faire, I can say, what's his name? Maybe Rocco, maybe the guy Daniel, but I had a laissez-faire. It's what we call a pencil pusher. Somebody that does not want to be getting their hands dirty. They're behind the desk all the time. Don't want to be in the trenches with the line cooks, okay? Don't really care being behind the line. Authoritarian, going back to the military, your drill sergeant, that's an authoritarian. Bureaucratic, okay? Democratic, those are two a little bit different. Democratic is like, and I was telling you guys, like when you guys do your 201 brunch buffet, the chef is going to guide you. He's going to tell you guys what to do, and he's going to give you guys hold your menu back instructions, and he's going to let you go, because democratic is when you pull together, you decide on your project, and you decide who's going to do what, and you guys are going to run with it, not the chef. Same thing goes with the barbecue buffet. You have a proteins, you got a date, you got a menu, you got products to work. Even when you're from the table class, you got a culmination at the end of the block. And then you got to have to culminate within yourselves in a democratic way. How are you going to produce that menu? Who's going to do what? And how are you going to make it happen? That's the democratic. So you're going to look at this video and write down your notes. If you want to email them to us, that's fine. I know Ms. Hannah, you did, and I appreciate that very much. I still have your notes. But we're going to go on Monday and talk about what you guys have in your homework assignment to watch, and tell me the different types. Understanding the elements of managerial decisions and describe how they can be applied. Okay, now I just gave you a whole bunch of information since day one, and I just put myself on the line about how my managerial style was on the kitchen back when I was, back in the industry world, and how that applied to the job. So I'm going to share with you guys this screen right now. I want you guys to take a look at this video over the weekend whenever you have time, and let me know your thoughts when we come back Monday, okay? I want to know what you guys think about this video. I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, so do take notes. We are going to go into it. So here it is. I don't know if you guys can see that, right? I don't know if you guys are able to watch this video or not. It's called Kitchen Nightmares Uncensored, Season 5, Episode 16, Amy's Bake Shop Kitchen Nightmare.
Yeah, that was a nightmare.
That's Ramsey, huh?
Oh yeah.
That says season 5, episode 15, right?
16, what, did I hear 16, Chef?
Episode 16.
Episode 16.
One second, okay.
Season 5, episode 16. Yeah, Mr. Daniel, don't spoil the
Okay.
trailers, okay?
I've seen all of these.
So you guys have not been able to have not watched this. Watch it over the weekend. I'm not going to talk about anything more. All I gotta say is hold on to your seats, put on your seatbelt, and go put the drive because it's going to take you on a wild ride watching this video. Because we're going to.
Hey, Chef, I do got a question. Let's just make sure everybody understands. Are they just giving you a few general thoughts? Do you have a couple more specific questions? Or are you saying let's look at it have them look at it in the context of these management personality types and so forth? Or what's the specifics of the assignment?
The specifics of the assignment, take a look at the video, and of course you're gonna have your emotions throughout the whole video. But when we come back, I'm gonna ask you what personality types this individual is and what kind of managerial style is it? Laissez-faire, democratic, autocratic, authoritarian. You're going to give me your notes, and I know you're going to have a lot to talk about because this is very interesting, and it's going to get you hopefully riled up when you guys watch it. So again,
awesome. Can I add communists?
Any what?
Can I add communists in that?
Chef, now you're talking about the personality types of the chef owner, or
yes,
the chef owner.
Both.
Both.
Personal
you want some comments on Ramsey and the chef owner?
No, not Ramsey. Both owners.
Both owners. Okay.
There are 2 owners on the video. So I want to know your thoughts on the personality types, and I want to know your notes on what kind of are they laissez-faire, authoritarian, democratic, or bureaucratic? What do you think?
It was the episode name was Amy's Baking Company, right?
Correct. And it's a 43-minute video.
Okay. Thank you, Chef.
So watch it, jot down your notes. You want to email it to us, that's fine. I'll take a look at them and go over them and over the weekend, but I will go ahead and ask you guys your thoughts on Monday. And I know you will have quite a bit of comments, right, Mr. Daniel?
You'll have plenty.
All right. So that is your homework assignment. Again, personality and what kind of managerial types both of them are.
Okay. Hey, guys, I got a couple things to say here, too, as we close it out. Listos. We're hearing from about 4 or 5 people consistently, which is good. There are some people that are not saying anything, including a time or two we couldn't even find someone. I want you to make sure, I mean, I can't make you enjoy it, but I want you to make sure you're present for this. And I think Chef Miguel is organized enough to have a little thing saying, okay, I got a response from so-and-so, right? I didn't hear from so-and-so. And we want to be able to assign, full good points for participation and discussion. But if habitually you will never say anything, it's kind of harder to give full credit every day. And we want you involved. I think it's more interesting and more exciting if we hear from the troublemaker in the back corner once in a while too.
Because I want to see what your thoughts are. I want to hear your wheels spinning. Now, going back to that, where you guys were able to log into the portal yesterday or this morning, have you guys taken a look at your grade? Have you guys read your comments?
I have.
Yes, I have.
Okay. So the more you participate, the more you're going to maximize those points. And again, the whole idea of you guys participating is to get you guys into the mind thought of being an owner, being a chef, and being a better manager. So when you guys go and graduate, you guys can be more successful. Our goal is to make you guys successful, not to fail. And we're here to guide you guys in the right direction, give you the tools, but it's ultimately for you guys to give input so we can see where you're at, and all due respect, grading you accordingly, because it ain't fair if somebody's just sitting in the back, right, not participating, and they get a full grade. It won't be fair for the ones that are participating day in, day out, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So if I tag you, if I call your name, that means, hey, I want you to speak up, okay? So don't be shy, okay? Don't be shy, speak up. I know some of you guys are not. Some of you guys like, whatever. But again, speak up, participate. Okay, and I know this video is going to get you guys riled up. Hopefully, you have enough to talk about for Monday.
Oh man, he gave you a whole month to talk about this video.
Well, it's finally coming home to roost on me, Chef. For 30 years, 20 years, I've done everything I could do to avoid Gordon Ramsay, and I got to watch him for a whole 45 minutes.
Oh, Chef Gary, if you haven't watched it, you're going to have a lot to talk about.
You're going to love this one.
So you've never seen
I
Kitchen Nightmares at
a
all?
food festival downtown.
What was that, Mr. James?
You've never, like Chef Gary, you've never seen Kitchen Nightmares at all?
I've seen a couple.
I love the Kitchen Nightmares. He's hilarious in them. Like, more hilarious than he is in, like, his Hell's Kitchen or Master Chef and stuff like that. He just goes ham on these people.
Well,
like,
I think, see, for me, it feels like I'm not trying to color I shouldn't be trying to color your perceptions. That's not what I'm doing here. But
no, you're not.
But I feel like that whole Food Network thing, there's a lot of good that's in it. We learned a lot of different chef personalities and what makes them tick and what they love. And it's extremely entertaining. I'll admit it. And I get a little tired of that hate beatdown stuff that he does. And I've even heard some rumors that he got in some people's Wheaties and got in their life in such a way at the worst possible time that it was very hard for them. Like when the guy's exhausted, he's probably sleeping 2 hours a day or no hours a day. He's got everything he's got on the line. He's got his family to care for. And he's got this restaurant that's not quite making it. And Gordon Ramsay comes in and starts telling him what a, stupid fool and a ne'er-do-well he is. And he's probably a pretty good guy, but it bugs the heck out of me that those producers have gotten so skillful at squeezing advertising dollars out of misery like that. So, but he's a strong personality. He's an important personality. I'm eager to check it out. And a lot of folks say he's not as bad as I think he is.
He's not. I don't know about this episode, but I have seen a couple episodes where, like, a similar situation to like what you were just talking about. The guy literally was broken down in tears outside of his restaurant crying. And if Ramsay walks out and he's like, hey, what's going on? What happened? Like, why are you crying?
So like Ramsay doesn't understand what he's done?
No, like I'm sure he didn't understand. He understood what he did, but there was a lot of other issues as well. And once the guy explained those issues to him, Gordon was like, well, I can't remember if he actually truly apologized or whatever, but he was like, if you had told me that, I would not have said what I had said, and I would have taken a different approach to dealing with that,
So it becomes the dude's fault. Even the dude's breakdown is the dude's fault. Well, if you told me, I wouldn't have been such an ass.
Fair enough, but still.
Just trying to provoke you guys, that's all. Just trying to have
Hey,
fun.
Chef Gary, you on your Gordon Ramsay vibes or something? You sound just like him.
Oh!
I know who said that.
I said this, Chef. I said you sound just like him now. That's how
I'm coming for you.
It's going to affect your grade.
Baba Yaga, boogeyman.
Cameron, shut it down.
That's your homework for the weekend. Go watch it. Be ready for Monday, okay?
That'll be fun. That'll be a fun watch this weekend. Thanks, you guys.
All right. Peace.
All right.